To receive religious access, press channel 24 now. You are now locked into public access television. You may not resume normal programming.
You won't find city cable program listings in your daily newspaper or in the weekend TV magazine or even in the TV guide. But we have 3 very good ways for you to find out what's on city cable. We're on Warner Cable's Channel 1 preview guide with continuously updated program listings. Our City Line program information service operates 24 hours every day with recorded information about each day's city cable programming. Or you can receive our free printed schedules in the mail each month, featuring listings of our recurring programs and specific information about special meetings and other events. Just call us at 352-CITI. You'll hear a recorded message featuring today's city cable program schedule, and you can leave your name and address for addition to our mailing list. As a special bonus, we'll send you one of our city cable bumper stickers so you can help get out the word about our unique local programming service. Call us right now, and thank you for watching and supporting City Cable, your key to the city of Cincinnati.
Hey, Garth, look, it's a camera. Hey, go get the camera. Go get the camera. Okay, excellent, excellent. We're back with Wayne's World, Backstage, and we're going to try and interview someone in just a minute. Garth on handheld. This is excellent, excellent. Okay. Unnecessary zoom. Whoa! Whoa! Excellent. All right, all right. It's a flurry of activity behind the scenes here, and we're going to see if we can interview some of the participants. Come on. Come on over here. Okay, cool. Cool. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Could we interview you? Could we interview you?
Get out of here, Joe. Somebody get him out of here. Where's Joe?
We'd just like to interview you for the show.
Get him out of here.
Look, hey, you and your friends, get out of here. Give me that camera.
No, I need it. No, you're looking good. Oh, no. Oh, you're looking really good.
Reminds you of a couple of characters who broke away from the CNN tour group. They ran into headline news and tried to chain themselves to our cameras. We had employees running up to them saying, "Don't do it. You'll be sorry." Welcome back to the 1993 Blue Chip Cable Access Awards. Our next presenter works with children as the music teacher and TV coordinator for Freedom Elementary School in Westchester, Ohio. David Dendler has won both regional Philo and local Blue Chip Awards for his student-produced Inside Freedom news program. And with him is Gary Ellerhorst, the program vice president and choreographer for the Southern Gateway Chorus, a 140-man barbershop chorus started in 1956. They're currently recognized as the International Barbershop Chorus Champions and have won more international competitions than any chorus in the history of barbershop singing. Later this year, they're going to be performing at Carnegie Hall in New York City. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome David Dendler and Gary Ellerhorst.
The sports category acknowledges the efforts of 2 highly skilled groups of individuals, the local and regional athletes that appear on the programs, and the producers and technicians who capture their efforts on tape. Tonight, we honor the producers of sports programming.
In the category of non-professional sports programming, the award goes to Bill Bretz for WLW Coors All-Stars versus Charter Oak Softball.
Here's the pitch. No way, Jose. Ball. Wonderful night for baseball. Swung on, grounded to second. The throw across, got him 2 outs.
You know, last couple of years I said it's really an honor just to be nominated, but I tell you what, it's even better taking one of these home. I would like to thank a few people whose, without their help, I couldn't do this. I couldn't put it on. First off, I'd like to thank ICRC and particularly Brad Stapleton, who's, without his truck and his humor, this could not be possible. Also, my crew for this game, Amy Bauer, Art Funk, Scott Gobby, Eric Johan, Gordon Rudy, and 2 crew members have been with me for 4 seasons with this, my director, John Jones, and probably one of the finest cameramen I've ever seen, and my right arm, David Pinkleton. Also like to thank Pace Telecommunications, particularly Tom Bishop, Dave Gushurst, Ken Noakes, who's without help and encouragement, I would not be in public access. And I also like to recognize the efforts of Freddie Marsh and the various 700 WLW, Channel 5, Channel 9, and sports celebrities who volunteer their time to do these softball games to the Ruth Lyons Children's Christmas Fund. Last but not least, I'd like to thank my wife, Karen, who put up for this endless hours of me doing this. Thank you very much.
The nominees for professional sports programming are St. Xavier versus Anderson, Ohio Regional Football Finals, Waycross Community Television producers, and St. Xavier versus Piqua, Ohio State Football Semifinals, Waycross Community Television producers. And the award goes to St. Xavier versus Piqua, Ohio State Football Finals, Waycross Community Television producer.
Great catch on the run. 30-yard line. He's looking for a alley. He's got one alley. He breaks 2 tackles. He spins. He could go down the sidelines. Great block by Gussick. Solman trying to cut it back. Megatoe's going to try to catch him. He won't do it. Scott Solman, 70.
Thank you very much. I especially would like to congratulate Glenn Hartong for his efforts in coordinating much of the volunteer work on this show, and of course our Waycross Community Television staff and volunteers.
The video promo categories highlight the efforts of producers who utilize the power of television to persuade. The producers recognized in these categories demonstrate their expertise in editing, lighting, music, and writing to maximize their program's influence.
There are 2 categories for video promos, 60 seconds or less, which we call promo spots, and over 60 seconds, which we call promotional videos. The nominees for non-professional category of promotional videos are 1992 Fair Promo, Bob Baxter producer, Sick Pups Promo, Dave Moore producer. And the award goes to Sick Pups Promo, David Moore producer.
I'll tell you, I'm sure glad I picked that name for that's just a promo for a show which will be airing probably in a few weeks or a month at the most. But every time they say it, I hear people murmuring it all over the audience, sick pups, you know, it's really catchy, and I guess that's the key of promotions in the first place. I'd like to thank everybody who appeared in the video and the show that it promotes, and Tom Bishop again, and all the folks at Pace, and everybody at the Blue Chips Awards. I said it all last time. Thank you, Lord. Thank everybody. Good.
The nominees for the professional promotional video are Reaching for the Top, Dave Gushurst producer, Waycross Community TV, We Build Community, Waycross Community Television producers, Youth in City Government promo, City Cable staff producers. And the award goes to Reaching for the Top, Dave Gushurst producer.
We're a people bound together by a single heart and mind.
Thank you very much. And those people are bound together in Norwood at a time where things are looking pretty rough. General Motors moving out, that kind of thing. It was time to say, hey, there's some wonderful, positive things to say about the city of Norwood, and that's why we did this. Thank you very much.
The non-professional promos winner is Waycross Community Television Sports Promo, James W. Allen, producer.
First of all, I'd like to thank the Blue Chip Committee for choosing my video out of all the many entries put in. And second of all, I'd like to thank Mike Anderson and the Waycross Community Television staff for all the positive support they gave me for this award. Thank you very much.
Promo spot. The nominees are Election 92, Cameron Hamilton, producer. St. Luke West Volunteer Program promo. Kenton Boone Office of Cable Communications, producer. And University Promotional Videotape, Michael Mims and Ron Ellis, producers. And the award goes to University Promotional Videotape, Michael Mims and Ron Ellis, producers.
I mean, I enjoy the jam music personally Sunday. I'm not sure about you. Like the smooth sax? Do we have the smooth sax? The jam music from the award show.
The smooth sack? What?
Sax. The sax, like a sax, smooth saxophone, jam. Were you not watching our own stream and the wonderful award show and the background music they have playing? It's stunning.
No, I was frantically looking through our playlist to see what we were actually going to cover today, because apparently we didn't think about this at all until just the last 5 minutes.
Apparently one of us didn't.
All right, well then what are we covering today, Brooks, since you clearly know everything?
Well, I think my big thing today was going to be focusing on Time's interview with Donald Trump. There is an audio of it. It's an hour 15 straight through. But
there's no video, huh? It's just audio?
It's just audio because it was like a Time magazine. And they do this kind of every year. It's intended to be sort of the, hey, we're checking on the president. Once a year they do that. They go in, they meet with them. They ask them about the first 100 days every single year. And the thing that's fascinating about Trump, and I was having this discussion with my wife last night because I was reading through some of the quotes in it, and I was marking up a bunch of stuff. There's almost no point in like, oh, Trump's lying, like that thing, or Trump's out of his mind, like that.
Yeah.
That reactionary side. I think it's worth analyzing from a how he has changed here versus, I think at this point it'd be 8 years ago. And I think the mental space that he's in, I think is clearly different. And I think that's the sort of, for me, that's the vector I want to sort of chase down, because a lot of the stuff he says is on its face, obviously a lie, but the way that he's existing now, the space he lives in, I think has become so deeply disconnected, like a lot of Trump voters, that the reality they're producing is simply different from one we could even deal with.
Well, that's why my immediate retort to that was going to be, is it even appropriate to talk about there being a thought process? It seems to be the major difference is that he's surrounded himself with quote-unquote yes men, although what a yes man means when you yourself are just echoing what you perceive to be the drives of the people around you is an interesting question.
Well, and that's when we get into some of this, there's a handful of things like and I think you'll see this when we get to it, but at one point, the reporter, who doesn't mince words, like he's playing nice because he knows he doesn't want Trump to get up and leave because Trump's a big coward, but he pushes back, and he pushes back in ways where he's like, well, the Supreme Court said 9-0. I don't think they said that. Well, let me quote it. And he quotes the decision, and then he goes, that's not what my people are saying. My people are saying it's something else. You got the quote wrong. It's like that level of, and I listen to it. I don't think he's like bullshitting back. I think he's just like, no, that's not, you're fucking with me. I knew it. I knew you're the kind of person. He says it kind of throughout. You're the kind of person who's going to lie. You're going to lie. You're lying to me. This isn't that. It's kind of that weird.
Which, to be fair, again, going back to what we've learned about the internal workings of his cabinet and the people around him, like he's probably used to that at this stage. People can't talk to him. So people,
and they're not telling him stuff. And that's that's again, when we talk, this is why I think it's worth going through, because the thesis you and I think have had consistently for Trump for, I want to say really since he started this time around, is some shadow puppetry. Are you doing the pen spinning thing to fuck with me at this point?
No.
I
just like the pen spinning thing.
Say you missed part of my stream the other night then.
What were you doing with the
I was making fun of a pen spinny person.
You don't like pen spinning?
You should. It's in a Jonathan Bai video. It's in. I've looked. It's in a bunch of his videos.
I'm more of a Jonathan.
And he's got
Harrow
like this
fan.
guy. He's got this guy who's like leaning back and smiling and trying to be cool and doing the pen spin. And it's like,
no, it would make you mad as I'm just doing this the entire time.
Oh, I'd almost prefer it.
I lost my pen, so.
But you and I have had this theory from the beginning that this time around is a little bit different for Trump because, the first time around, I think he was consolidating what Trump means or what his cabinet could be, and he was bringing a bunch of people. Now people know Trump. He's a known quantity to the people who want these powers, and he basically is an almost empty-suited figurehead who doesn't have control. He doesn't actually have power, but also kind of does.
But also he does. So it's
he does. So it's this fucked up. We have a really fucked up paradox.
You know what it is?
You know
what the analogy is? It's exactly what happened at the end of season 1 of Game of Thrones, where everyone's like, they think they're controlling Joffrey, and then all of a sudden he orders Ned Stark's head cut off. And then everyone's like, oh shit.
It's not far from it. And at the same time, they are controlling Joffrey, but then they aren't, and other people aren't. And he's being manipulated. Again, the nature of power is very much what we're seeing with Trump. And I think this is like, I have not lived under a president who's so clearly a straight up playing in the space of dictatorship, right? Like Bush the first, Bush the second, Clinton, Obama, even Trump the first time around played towards this. But this is much more of the traditional dictator.
Well, it was the spirit was tyrannical. The form wasn't. Now we have just a cult of personality, just like a bull in a china shop, which is not what it was before. In fact, before, what sort of marked the thing and a part of the general timidness of his previous tenure in office was that it was very clear that despite the bluster and the rhetoric, he was still obviously playing a balancing act with people around him and behind who were saying like, hey, look, you got to calm this down. You got to like whatever. And he still had no idea what he was doing when he was talking. So he would say shit that was wrong, but he was very reserved, very under control. He didn't explode like he does now. And
he didn't say, he has always been when I say clever, I don't mean like brilliant. I mean clever in the sense of he's usually, and for like, you go back and you find videos, he's always been a bullshit artist, but he's been a cleverer bullshit artist. There's a way where you don't say things that are immediately falsifiable. Like that's a good bullshit artist knows to do that. And he's done that for a long time. We're not seeing that anymore. He's now just saying things that to their face. And it's if you'll indulge me for a moment, I think it is worth taking a second and going through a bit of this, again, not
is this
the
Psycho Patrol R stream we promise? Is that what we're doing before we start the Trump thing? No? Okay. There goes my hopes and dreams.
So sorry to say no. I had no time to play it this weekend. I'm too busy working on a bunch of other shit. So no.
Well, obviously you should have prioritized that over your family at some point.
I know. It's a whole thing. I like reading his like when it's written, instead of hearing it in his voice, it's really hard to sort of make sense of it. And so it's kind of fun. If you'll indulge me, there's a couple of bits. You know better, he's asked, you know better than anyone that the President of the United States is the most powerful person in the world. At the same time, it seems like you are expanding the power of the presidency. Why do you think you need more power? Well, I don't feel I'm expanding it. I think I'm using it as it was meant to be used. I feel that we've had a very successful presidency in 100 days. We've had people writing it was the best first month and best second month and really the best third month. But that you won't know about for a little while because it takes a little time in transition. You know, we're resetting a table. We were losing $2 trillion a year on trade, and you can't do that. I mean, at some point, somebody has to come along and stop it because it's not sustainable. We were carrying other countries on our back with, with trade numbers, with horrible numbers, and we've changed it. You see, the market fluctuates quite a bit. Today it's up 1,000 or 1,200 points. It goes up and down, but that will steady out. We're taking tremendous amounts of money. This is, I think, where we start. To me, this
line, if I may.
Yeah.
This is what strikes me. We've had people writing it was the best first month and the best second month, and really the best third month. But you won't know about that for a little while. The sentence structure implies that we won't know about the letters he got for a little while. But he means you won't know about the thing that they're writing the letters about, because apparently the people writing the letters know about it in advance of what we can
what
know
he's saying is that we won't know that it's the best third month the president's ever had for a little while, is what again, his intonation helps this, but that is what he's saying when he's speaking. He's like, it's the best first and second month, really the best third, but they're not going to tell you that yet.
But we've had people writing it was. We've had people writing it wasn't really the best third. It's still there. We've had people writing about a thing they can't know about yet. Yes.
Oh, it's awful. The sentence and grammatical structure, trust me.
But it's not just the sentence and grammatical structure. There's no clarification. He's lost the thread of his own sentence, and it's a short sentence.
And,
just like that. He's just gone. He's not talking about the same thing anymore.
It's straight up nonsense. He didn't become president until, doesn't matter. We were losing $2 trillion a year on trade, and you can't do that.
They were writing since his inauguration. Oh boy, you're doing such a good job being the president. Sorry, go on.
We were losing $2 trillion a year on trade, and you can't do that. That's not how that works. We weren't losing anything on trade at all. It's again, the baby brain misunderstanding that no one has still corrected him on, but Besant has joined in on, and others have too. The U.S. buys things from other countries that we then either consume or we use in other products. That's kind of the setup. And more money is going out to buy those things than money coming in. But those things are still coming in. So it's not like there's a $2 trillion loss. It's we buy stuff that's worth $2 trillion that's coming into the country. So it's kind of, this is how stupid the idea is.
Justin Trudeau, our former prime minister, once famously said that when you kill your enemies, they win. Okay. Trump is the reverse of that. If your friends benefit from you, you lose. That's it. It genuinely is just like, oh, the entire world is a cancer on the United States, and we need to perform chemotherapy to burn it all out faster than we die from it.
Yep.
And that's victory. That's the conditions of victory for this guy.
From Trump. The prices of groceries have gone down. The only price that hasn't gone down is the price of energy. The cost of energy, I'm sorry, energy has gone down. Excuse me, let me change that, is the interest rates. And interest rates have essentially stayed the same. But almost every other thing, you take a look at what's going on, and we're taking in billions of dollars of tariffs, by the way. And just to go back to the past, I took in hundreds of billions of dollars of tariffs from China, and then when COVID came, I couldn't institute the full program, but I took in hundreds of billions, and we had no inflation. None of that's true. like there's nothing in that sentence, one, that I'm not even sure is said. Prices of groceries have not gone down, they've gone up. The only price that's gone down is energy. Energy, it's up. It's everything's fucked. And interest rates have stayed the same. what I don't even know what he's talking about. Like these are just disconnected things, right?
Yeah. I'm rapid firing trying to research some of the stuff that he's saying here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oil is down. So again, this is where, here's the thing that's worth looking at. If you're going to ask about eggs, if you're going to ask about prices of oil, for example, these things have gone down for corporations, but the end user is not a corporation. So when the price of oil is at low levels, like record lows for the last few years, it's crazy how low it is. That is accurate, but gas is actually up in price. The discussions he's having have nothing to do with the average consumer in any capacity. I believe, as I understand it, eggs as a price, like futures, down. So he's right, but the price of eggs at the grocery store is actually up by all the metrics of people who track this. So the things he's talking about, he's not wrong, but he's not talking about eggs as you and I just went to the store today. Eggs are $8 to $10 a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm dropping frames really bad. 1 second.
Are you?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't been dropping the call yet, so we're doing pretty good so far.
I'm dropping frames really badly. I may the last time I had to. Okay. With any luck, this should fix it in a moment. Sorry, everyone. I was dropping frames again, and I do not know why. It's fixed. Good. We're back. We were dropping frames. Like I was down to 2%. YouTube's been having weird ingestion issues for me lately. I don't know if anyone else is having that.
I don't think it's YouTube. I think it's your computer.
Then why, when I reconnect, it works fine?
That's an excellent question. But I'm sure the answer has something to do with your computer.
Fair enough. Fair. But again, the point, and again, you'll see as he talks through this, and I think this is the worthwhile conversation and why it's interesting. What is the position he's talking from? One of the challenges we have, because people tend to speak and talk inside of a representational space, symbolic space, the word egg, as Trump is saying it, people place eggs in their own context. And so when he says eggs are down and someone tells him eggs are down, these can all be the right conversation. They can all be the right conversation, but they're not speaking about the same things because ultimately they're referencing and signifying different elements. And this is the part of this I've been going back and forth and looking through how he's talking about it. This is his weird fucked up language that as he's talking about this, he's not wrong, but he's not talking about the same shit as we are. So he said, the reporter goes, let's focus on what's happening right now because we took in billions of dollars. We had no inflation. Now, if you look, the price of groceries are down. The price of energy is down. Inflation remains pretty much the same. The IMF saying it's going to go up. No, Eric, you can't say what they think because so far what I thought is right. I like it. You
That's
can't.
just a weird sentence. What I thought is what?
Yep.
What does that mean?
So far, what I thought is right. I've been right about 401ks are down. The Atlanta Fed says our economy is contracting negative 2.2% during Q1. Well, they may have said that, but so far I've been right. If you look at all the years I've been doing this, I've been right on things. You're gonna have the wealthiest country we've ever had. You're gonna have an explosion upward in the not too distant future. You know, I've been here now for 3 months and I inherited eggs. I inherited groceries. I inherited energy. It was all going through the roof. We had the highest inflation we've ever seen as a country or very close to it. I believe it was the highest ever. Somebody said it was the highest in only 48 years. That's a lot too. But I believe we had the highest inflation we've ever had. I've been here now for 3 months. In 3 months, we are taking in billions and billions of dollars from other countries that we never took in before. And that's just a start.
This man is delusional. Take him to the infirmary. But in all seriousness, I think he's actually telling us a secret message, okay? I've been here for 3 months and I inherited eggs. It's a warning. You see, RFK Jr.'s brain has spawned. And so those eggs have been inserted into...
it's not far from reality.
Yeah.
Your trade advisor, Peter Navarro, this is, by the way, enjoy this. This is one of my favorite sections of it. Your trade advisor, Peter Navarro, says 90 deals in 90 days is possible. We're now 13 days into the point from where you lifted the discounted reciprocal tariffs. There's 0 deals so far. Why is that? No, there's many deals. When are they going to be announced? You have to understand, I'm dealing with all the companies, very friendly countries. We're meeting with China. We're doing fine with everybody. But ultimately, I've made all the deals. Not one has been announced yet. When are you going to announce them? I've made 200 deals. You've made 200 deals? 100%. Can you share with... Just take a second. He's made 200 deals.
It's a lot of deals.
There are
that's
197
like
recognized
deals,
countries.
2 deals a day.
There's 197 recognized countries in the world. And that includes Palestine, by the way.
He's a busy guy.
And then he rambles. Can you share with whom? Because the deal is a deal that I choose. View it differently. We are a department store. We set the price. I meet with the companies, and then I set a fair price, what I consider to be a fair price, and they can pay for it, or they don't have to pay it. They don't have to do business with the United States, but I set a tariff on countries. Some have been horrible to us, some have been okay. Nobody's been great.
He understands that that's like, I mean, he doesn't. I don't know why I'm asking that, phrasing that as a question. But like, I'm sorry. They can pay it or they don't have to pay it. They don't have to do business with the United States. If they don't have to do business with the United States, then how are you relying on tariffs to fund your government? Like, you notice the contradiction here. The entire premise of the tariffs is that people will pay it because they have to pay it. If they don't have to pay it, if this is like an optional thing, which it is, then how is this a thing you even say? Like, you should be reassuring. It's like, no, they will pay it. They absolutely will pay it. Why? Because I'm cutting taxes on the rich and corporations. So we need them to pay it. Otherwise, that money has to come from somewhere. Where's it going to come from? But he's treating this like it's like, oh, it's fine. That's fine. They can go their own way. But you need that money. You haven't severed the connection. Your entire gambit has been that you have you are so situated that you are so needed by the global economy that nobody can survive not paying that premium to get products processed through your borders.
Yeah.
But
it's again, it's very different type of bullshitting than the first time around with him. And we've been seeing this consistently, I think, since he started. The lack of information totally. Now, the next bit, I just want to mention, be aware that Scott Bessent, as this interview was being done, did an interview with CNBC where he said that there has been no trade negotiations at all with China, period.
Yeah, I saw that. Can we actually take a brief period to watch that part?
I think we can, because it's kind of a worthwhile moment. Let's see. And also, I do enjoy this. This fucking clip is wild to me.
I saw a little bit of it. It was
it's wild. Come on, there you go. Come on, NBC, get moving.
President Trump's Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Thanks for joining us this morning, Mr. Secretary. We appreciate it. Let's start with the polls. For the very first time, the president's polling numbers on the economy are underwater, with 53% saying it has gotten worse under President Trump, with 72% of those in our poll saying it is very or somewhat likely that his economic policies will cause a recession. Your reaction?
Oh, well, Martha, I haven't seen the polls, and for the past 35 years, my business was analyzing data, so I think we've probably got to dig down in those. But what I do know...
I like Bessent's, like, I don't know if that number is exact. We'll have to look at those numbers.
Is that Americans are behaving very different than what the surveys say. So the surveys may say that, but consumers are still spending. So I prefer to look at what Americans are doing rather than how they're answering pollsters.
And it doesn't worry you, the poll numbers that you have seen?
When I start seeing data to the contrary, then we can look at that. But again, these poll numbers, and also when I look at some of the things that are being published, there was a story 10 days ago that said this is the worst April for the stock market since the Great Depression. 10 days later, the NASDAQ is now up on the month of April. And I haven't seen a story that says, oh, stock market has biggest bounce back ever.
Because it didn't. It didn't have the biggest bounce back ever. Just to mention, like, this is the fun part is when you have, say, a big number and you cut, say, 15% off of it, if you gain 15% back, that's not the same amount. Like, people don't, I actually think people are this stupid. I had this argument with someone. If you lose 15% off $100, that's $15. Put you 85. If you have 15% more and you have $85, that's not $15. It's this weird mental space these people are in is fucking crazy to me. Sorry. It's just a stunning conversation.
Look, okay. At 100 days, Trump has done literally nothing except destructive shit that has created massive uncertainty and has put actually American citizens as of right now out of the country illegally. There was a native-born infant that was apparently deported illegally very recently.
Yeah,
we should talk about that at some point. But yeah, by the way, guys, if you're born in America, you're an American citizen. So this person was just flat out they just flat out devalued your citizenship yet again.
Yep.
But that aside, I believe his approval rating is what, 41% still? Like, I want you to think about that. Like, 41% of respondents to polls are saying he did a good job. Of what is probably giving them too much credit to answer, because people are just flat out not paying attention. These people are zombies. They're actual zombies. These are not people who are behaving in the manner of and any kind of thing that would exhibit sentience. There's no processing of information. When people are asked this, the response is default because they're not living in the world in any meaningful capacity.
No.
These people are zombies. It's not even a matter of being stupid. It's like they don't have the capacity to have information presented to them. They don't live in a space where that happens.
Nope.
They encounter a pollster at some random point in their life and they answer it. And that's that. And that's probably the most engagement they have with the real world ever on that point. It'll probably be remarkable to them when all of a sudden there's some scandal years down the line and all of this has been a mystery.
On approval numbers, one of the things that's important when you talk about approval numbers is the way that these conversations happen with pollsters, and it's why it's worth looking at, like, underneath the data, which he's not wrong about here, but it gets worse, I think would be the way I'd put it. The way that it works is you ask generically, and then you ask generally. What happens is you ask about specific issues.
Yeah.
And I think every single one of the polls across the board finds actually that people are general, like that 41% or whatever is like sure. But then on every single issue, there's challenges except for a handful, like immigration slightly higher, but everything else is like 34%, 32%, inflation. I think he was at 35%. So it's like, that a third of these people, again, third of the country, kind of lost cause as far as I'm concerned. They don't have the mental capacity to understand why they're wrong. I was at the store today and we bought some groceries. It was fucking, and I mentioned them and like, fuck, those eggs are expensive. And this dude, a 70-year-old guy who probably shouldn't even be working, should be able to relax at home, is checking me out. And he goes, well, I don't want to be political, but they're trying to stop the tariffs just so they can get their power back. And I'm like, what? And he started telling me that the reason that the prices are higher is because the Democrats want to undo Trump's good work.
Just very quickly, just because I brought it up, and before we forget, this is the you can pop this up on the screen very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I put a link talking about the deportation of the 2-year-old American citizen that was deported with their mother.
1-year-old, pardon me. No, 2-year-old.
It says 2-year-old in the headline, but then lower it says 1-year-old. No, that's two separate cases. I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Cuban-born mother of a 1-year-old girl separating them indefinitely, and another case, a 2-year-old girl. Okay, I read that too quickly. Who is a U.S. citizen along with her Honduran-born mother. Their lawyers say. Just to put this into perspective, okay, that 2-year-old that was deported has more of a right to run for president than Cenk Uygur does. Just to be clear, that's what's going on right now.
Lawyers in 2 cases described how their clients were arrested at routine check-ins at ICE offices. So this is, by the way, part of the playbook. ICE has done this before, and they talk about it. That they do this so that way people will skip their check-ins, so then they can go after them.
Yeah. Yep. Well, it's essentially what's been happening with the courts as well. They are now making it so that they are scooping up people illegally from courtrooms, meaning that due process is now increasingly impossible. They're undermining the possibility of the judiciary, I can't even speak, of the judiciary to intervene at virtually any level of this process. They're not allowing them to speak to lawyers. Here's the grand irony of the thing. You're not actually that much worse off in terms of your legal representation, judging from what we've seen. For the first couple of weeks being held by ICE, as you might be in El Salvador, because it seems like they just flat out hold you without any counsel illegally, without giving you access to a phone or anything. They seem to have more power than the police that way. It's I mean, they're basically just brown shirts at this point.
They are just brown shirts, and there's been a huge increase in fake ICE agents. I don't know if you saw this.
Well, have you seen real ICE agents and what they look like?
Yes, there's a reason that people are impersonating
them. It's like a fucking brute squad. You may as well just pull people off the street, which they probably do, to be fair.
Yeah, and it's yeah.
They don't look like cops. Like,
no, they do not. Fuck, dude. Because it's like you get headlines like this, and it's like, if you didn't, some of these are like insane, and they kind of hurt my brain. But woman poses as ICE agent to kidnap ex-boyfriend's wife at work. A woman wearing a shirt that said ICE pretended to be an immigration officer to kidnap her ex-boyfriend's wife. Battle showed up to the wife's workplace, the hotel chain Florida Panhandle, on April 10th. And the worker asked if Battle needed a room, deputies wrote in an arrest affidavit. Battle told the worker she was there to pick her up. That's when Battle unzipped the jacket she was wearing to reveal she had an ICE printed on the front. The woman recounted the deputies. She presented a business card showing she worked for the sheriff's office, after which the woman contacted her boss and went with Battle, believing she was a real agent with ICE. Like, this is where we are. And this is so regular, there are guides now online. Like how to spot fake ICE agents.
Yeah.
Like, this is a thing. It's it just hurts me.
Here's the difference though. Like with cops, it's like, okay, guy shows up, he's just wearing a t-shirt or whatever, he's got a fake badge. Okay, like that's what you expect to see with respect to fake cops. With respect to ICE agents, it's like,
come on.
It's like trying to spot a counterfeit bill, because they've got, it's so ununiform.
Washington man posed as ICE agent for YouTube stunt. You can find the video online, by the way. We're not going to watch it. I don't want to give him any view.
Like, just a guy shows up with a Kevlar vest. It's just like, hey, I'm ICE. Like, we're okay.
Yeah.
By the way, if you don't cooperate, and maybe I'm ICE, maybe I'm not. If I am ICE, if you don't cooperate, now we can arrest you. Okay.
This is the fake vehicle the guy drove around the parking lot. I mean, that's convincing to me. It's more convincing than a lot of the actual ICE agents I've seen.
That's a lot of effort.
I've seen ICE agents in like everyday cars, like supposedly legitimate ones. It's this is what happens, and there are extraordinary numbers of reports of this. This is a weirdly common thing happening now, because there's no rule of law, because these things were supposed to be stopped, and no one can say, I want my lawyer. The ICE agents just take them. So you have to just go along, or you get beaten and arrested. Like, that's police state of the worst kind. Speaking of that, though, I want to just, because, again, to go back to this.
Yeah.
When I spoke with you last April, are you still committed to complying with all Supreme Court orders? Sure, I believe in the court system. The Supreme Court ruled 9-0 that you have to bring back Kilmore Abrego Garcia. You haven't done so. Are you disobeying the Supreme Court? Well, that's not what my people told me. They didn't say it was. They said it was the 9-0 was something entirely different. Let me quote from the ruling. Quote, the order properly requires the government to facilitate Abrego Garcia's release from custody in El Salvador. Are you facilitating a release? I leave that to my lawyers. I give them no instructions. They feel that the order said something very much different from what you're saying, but I leave it to my lawyers. If they want, and that would be the Attorney General of the United States and people that represent the country. I don't make that decision.
So the president doesn't make that decision.
Have you asked President Bukaki to return him? I haven't. He said he wouldn't.
Wait, how do you know he said he wouldn't if you didn't ask him?
Did you ask him? But I haven't asked him positively. But he said he wouldn't. But if you haven't asked him, then how are you facilitating his release? Well, because I haven't been asked to ask him by my attorneys.
Just by the Supreme Court.
Nobody asked me to ask him that question except you.
Jesus Christ.
If I may continue, do you believe he deserves his day in court? This reporter right here, there's a soundbite in here that is 100% fantastic. And it's a really nice moment. Do you believe he deserves his day in court? I believe they made him look like a saint, and then we found out about him. He wasn't a saint. He was MS-13. He was a wife beater. He had a lot of things that were very bad. Very, very bad. When I first heard of the situation, I was not happy. Then I found out he was a person who was an MS-13 member. And in fact, he had tattooed right on his, I'm sure you saw that, he had it tattooed right on his knuckles, MS-13.
He could not.
No, I believe he's a man who got quite a past. This is no longer just a nice, wonderful man from Maryland, which the fake news had me and other people for a period of time believing. Now nobody believes that, and I think this is a very bad. I think this is another men's, women's sports thing for Democrats. Maybe, but Mr. President, whatever he might have done, whoever he might be affiliated with, doesn't he deserve his day in court? Nazi saboteurs who came on our shores at Montauk during World War II had a day in court. Al-Qaeda terrorists had their day in court. I really give that to my lawyers to determine. That's why I have them. That's not my determination. It's something that, frankly, bringing him back and retrying him wouldn't bother me. But I leave that up to my lawyer. You could bring him back.
Can we stop for a second? This should be like grounds for a fucking. I'm sorry. I'm trying to think of what the TOS thing is. This man is
treason.
Is declaring that he has essentially anointed somebody else to the executive power of the government, and he's not naming them.
Correct.
Now, he's also non-sentient, so he doesn't mean that.
He's doing
that.
The businessman thing in America.
Who's the lawyer? Because the lawyer is the president. Apparently, every executive decision.
This is what makes this fascinating to me, because the way that rich people in America work like this. I am powerful and make all the choices, unless I have to use my lawyer as cover. Then my lawyer in the judicial system is the ones I listen to. And all the money I have goes to them in order for them to delay things as long as possible. This has been what Trump has always literally done. This is what every businessman always does. But as president, he is the final say.
Yes, he can't do that. It's not just here's the thing. It's not just that he can't do that. It's not just about accountability.
It's
because there's
plausible
a flip side
deniability.
to this. It's not just accountability. It's not just about who is responsible for this. It's about who has the decision. If key decisions that are being dictated by the Supreme Court are being referred to the arbitration of some nameless professional that he's ostensibly paying somewhere, who's in charge? It's not just a matter of as the president, you actually can't refer this to somebody else. You actually need to account for this. It's okay, on the other side of this, the people surrounding Trump aren't making decisions. They aren't even able to communicate with them.
Right.
who is in charge? Who's at the wheel?
Nobody.
Nobody.
He is the supreme despot. He is the empty position. We've been talking about this, but again, this is why I think this is fascinating, because there's all those videos, the resentment fueled, oh, Trump made a fatal error today, we're going to get him, or look at the hypocrisy in here. But it's like, no, that there is something being revealed, not just about, I think, America, but I think how despotism naturally works.
Here's the thing. It didn't just start with Trump. Trump made it
Of course
naked.
not.
No, it's been the case for a very long time. For me, the turn was when Biden, at the very last minute, saved his son by pardoning him officially after he promised he wouldn't, after he gave the country away. Just by arbitrary decision, a senile old man just fed everyone on earth to the wolves, and he was able to do that with no consequence.
And no one said a fucking thing.
Nobody said anything. There were a few people who made YouTube videos. That was the outrage. But like, quite literally, what he did was he said, "Yeah, my ego trip didn't work. I wanted to stay president until I died, but it didn't work. And oh shoot, there's consequences involved. I don't have the power of God anymore, so I can't protect my son through more subtle ways. I'm going to make my family above the law because I like them more." Your democracy was done long in advance of this. We all knew this, of course. The two-party system, of course, is the fact that we're trapped.
It's a fucking joke.
The fact that we're trapped in it is like by itself like a positive declaration that like democracy as such is dead. You don't have decision-making power. There's no capacity for decision-making. Everybody has a gun to your head. The reason why people were, look, Democrats are bust is because there were consequences for people that would come from a certain kind of despot being in power. But that's essentially it. He's already lost 2 children. Who fucking cares if he's lost 2 children? That's not you don't get the benefit of putting your children first. If you're a family man who loves your kids, don't become the president. Seriously. Like that's no, it doesn't matter. He should have lost 3. That's it. Like, this isn't new. What's new is just the nakedness of it. Because these aren't people who are particularly smart. These aren't people who are particularly informed. These are people who are at the center of these complex networks of people who are variously informed and connected. And typically, all of this is filtered through them. And there is some decision making, but it's not entirely just the egotistical decisions of some old man in a room by himself. Now, the culture of party politics has bled so far in that it's sort of revealed, because as the Republican Party is just rotted from within due to its jumping on the Trump train. Now, when he's in, there's nothing else there to scaffold it. It's literally just the man.
It is. They've all become symbolic figureheads to almost par excellence. The parties themselves are not parties that are actually made of people.
Yes.
They're not actually answerable down the line. They're all representational. They're all symbolic. They're all in these weird places. And Biden, I think, represented that just as much as Trump did. Trump is a more extreme version of it. But again, Biden being anointed effectively put this in, again, kept that going. Hillary Clinton, the first time being anointed. Barack Hussein Obama being anointed as he did, or being called Barack Hussein Obama by the Republicans at the same time. The same game being played on both sides that doesn't actually deal with, again, how people can find or be invested in the things that are happening to them and see things in the voting booth that actually are within their interests. There just is nothing. The votes between Kamala and Trump were not votes of a difference in sense of one gives me a direct policy or an interest in my own existence. They're all very abstract conversations. I voted for Kamala because I was deeply worried Trump would do kind of all this shit. That's not the same thing as saying, oh, Kamala was going to do these things. She was going to fix the roads of my town. She was going to make sure that we had eliminating student debt. Oh, we're going to have single payer healthcare. None of that stuff that would matter to me. It's all these abstract secondary things. And by doing so, we put these politicians in an untouchable, almost celebrity category that makes it impossible for us to even deal with them.
People in chat are saying that his charges were exaggerated. It doesn't matter. He pled guilty to tax fraud, didn't he?
Look, he
It
did
doesn't matter. The point is not that like there wasn't a political reason for it.
Hunter
obviously.
Biden, who gives a shit about him?
I know, but here's the thing though. Going back to what you were talking about, I know, right? Fuck. Well, I'll tell you who gives a shit about him. Every shithead political commentator who wanted to be, hey, look how badass and awesome the Dems are, because that's all YouTube political commentators are capable of. Look, Hunter Biden's hanging out with prostitutes. Isn't he a baller? It's like, okay, we're just gonna ignore okay, sure, whatever. Here's the thing though. The difference between these people being anointed by the party and Trump infecting his party with a populist reverse sort of counterculture from within that undermined the ability of the traditional authorities to anoint in that way, because that was initially what happened. He wasn't he won, and then people realized, oh, this is the new game, and that whole structure is gone now. It now wasn't like somebody beholden to the interests of a party and there being some kind of semblance of a structure, some kind of thing maintaining some kind of intelligibility and consistency in what the person was doing, regardless of their rhetoric once they were in office, because this is the whole thing. Politicians are hypocrites. They get in office and they change. There's a bad side to this, which is the obvious one, that you're being conned and lied to, but there's a positive side to this, which is actually there is an extent to which these people have to run up against reality and then negotiate with it. And that reality is often one in which they also don't give a shit about your interests, so it ends up being very bad for you. But it also means they can't just destroy everything at a whim, because they are supported by all these little strings everywhere that they become increasingly aware of as, okay, the campaign's over, now we're in this mode. That hasn't been the case for Trump this run, because all those strings are cut. He won the election, and now it's like, what do we do now? There's nothing there. There's nothing connecting him to reality anymore. He's still in election mode. He's still defending himself like he's not in for the rest of his term and he's safe. Like, he could literally do basically anything at this point. He could go back on everything and have a perfectly secure, tranquil time in office, relatively speaking, and nobody could really do anything.
Have you been following on this? I think we have to take a second and talk about the new hotness in the world of podcasting too. Because speaking of the two parties, have you been hearing everyone's excited? Joe Rogan was toppled as the top thing, and it's Midas Touch is the new big hotness. Midas, Ben Maisala. This is not a joke. He's the new biggest thing. Everyone's talking about him. His listens went over Joe Rogan's for the first time, and everyone's like, see, this is proof against Trump. This is a Midas Touch, which is the fastest growing independent, blah, blah, progressive news. And people are talking about him as if he's lefty. That's how people are framing him and talking about him. Fox News puts him as the left's answer to Joe Rogan. And this is someone who is the most neoliberal fuck who exists and is a former lawyer, businessman, investor.
Hey, that's par for the course. Look, you had a pro-genocide neoliberal rapist. Nah, not a rapist. E-rapist. What's the word we want to use? Not a nice guy who shares porn of people. Be graced with a conversation with Slavoj Žižek and introduced as a leftist. Okay, I'm surprised by none of this at this point.
No, but it's again, there's no answer to things. This is the empty position that Trump is in. And I think what we're seeing in this interview, and it gets better in this, I think that continues to show more and more proof. I think we're seeing it across politics, because there is no response except for, how bad is that? Look at how bad it is. Well, what are we going to do? Just, that's so bad. We're going to not do that. And that's it. There's no affirmative position that exists at all.
There's no mobility. There's no movement. There's nothing. It's all just flaccid. Like, across the board, it's all flaccid. Like, what they needed to do from the beginning is a mirror image of what Trump did, just not that. You needed to have some kind of thing that actually like mobilized people and gave them like a reason to turn out and made them like excited. But all they had was, hey, look at all the bad stuff Trump is going to do. We're going to do it a little bit less. Oh, look, like one of their most powerful plays, especially like with a lot of the Democrat space, is like, I just don't even know. I just don't even know. It's
not going to get me to disagree.
All right, what are we watching? You're going to play something?
No, I was just sharing. I'm just showing like,
yeah.
We're going to finish watching, I think, more of Shithead, which I think we were enjoying before we went on this long rant. But this emptiness.
Oh, that Shithead, yeah.
This Shithead specifically. This emptiness is, I think, if there is, I think, a point of analysis we're just not seeing, and that I think you and I and a couple others have been talking about. I think this is the worthwhile thing to continue to chase, because like the other angle is the Lukes or the Bens or the Midas touch types who come from these incredibly, wealthy backgrounds, who spend their times in being a lawyer to major corporations and are investors in major companies, like these high profile, weird political actors who started and opened up. These are people who fought in 2020 against Trump, saying that the proper liberal Joe Biden is the way to go. These are people who pushed the Joe Biden thing. That mental space are the people who are taking up this emptiness. And again, they're empty as well. They've got nothing. They suck. These people suck. But they are no answer. And they will just, if anything, recede us a little bit backwards, and then we will move forwards to the same position again. And it will just be this bouncing back and forth.
So
it certainly has gone back and forth.
I think a lot of this is media driven.
Let's talk about the Time interview with President Trump. He said that he has made 200 deals on tariffs. 200 deals? Who has he made deals with? Is there actually any deal at this point?
I believe that he is referring to sub-deals within the negotiations we're doing. And, Martha, if there are 180...
But those aren't actual deals.
Martha, if there are 180...
What the fuck is a sub-deal? I'm sorry, don't you mean he's talked with people,
I love it,
and without agreeing to anything, they've agreed that an agreement might have to include da-da-da-da-da. That's not a deal. What? 200 deals? Well, I had 200 phone calls. It's like, okay, I hope so. You're
sub
the
deals.
president.
They're deals within deals that are within deals. We're looking for the sub deal within the deal, molecular deal making. That's our new framework.
It's like Dune.
Countries. There are 18 important trading partners. Let's put China to the side because that's a special negotiation. There's 17 important trading partners, and we have a process in place over the next 90 days to negotiate with them. Some of those are moving along very well, especially with the Asian
deals.
Yeah, I like the art of the sub deal. Is it like a sub tweet? Is that why? Is that what it is? Where you make a deal by sort of casually commenting on a thing and making a deal while talking about a person?
The Rorschach test of the deal.
It's a whole thing. Oh, it is the inception of deals. I like that because it's just as stupid as the movie. Because on that note, our important trading partners, Trump is going to undo Brexit. Just take a second to think about that reality. The UK and EU have made this declaration. They're getting together in this big summit in May. They're going to have full, free, and open trade between them just to rebuke Trump.
Compot was right.
I just can't even mentally
Hegel couldn't do it. Fichte couldn't do it, but he's going to complete the system of German idealism.
Yeah, there we go.
He's going to do it.
A leaked draft sent by Politico promises a new strategic partnership between London and Brussels based on maintaining global economic stability and our mutual commitment to free and open trade. Comes as Keir Starmer's UK government is locked in negotiations with Trump administration trying to get carve-out from the U.S. president's tariffs. The draft UK-EU agreement, dated April 25th, is one of several being drawn up, which is seen as a key moment. incredible. It's just in my head, that's not, I thought, a thing that we'd be seeing. But, Trump's doing good work.
In countries.
And President Trump's strategy really has been to announce these tariffs and dial some back.
Look, the media keeps saying I'm doing a bad job, but look, Europe's going to reach absolute spirit by the end of the year.
Is TTS disabled? TTS shouldn't be disabled.
Well, of course it's disabled. Brooks, you're in charge.
You're very funny.
I am. TTS isn't disabled on my streams.
It's not disabled on my stream either.
Did somebody donate something?
No. But...
somebody did. Gengaros did. Should there be an age limit on the presidency?
Oh, Insomnia War just did too. Wait, why isn't it showing up then?
That's an excellent question.
Let's
did you
find
change?
out.
Did you change it when you were?
I didn't change anything.
Oh, actually, I do wonder because I run into this. Did you remember to save when you changed the settings back when we streamed? Because you turned it off when you were having that conversation.
It's full volume and set up right now. 1 second. Let me figure this out. Something's wrong.
Interesting. Thanks for reminding me too. I'm going to put the link into the description.
You do that. Give me a second there. We'll replay those.
Ooh.
What happened?
And we got a little bit of a bomb article to cover once we sort that out. By the way, thank you, Titan. Check this out. I like this. Let me pop in the description. By the way, while we are sorting out basic technical shit that every streamer worth anything already knows how to do, if you like what we do and you want to help support the channel, please consider donating memberships. We love memberships. They get rid of all the white names from our chat. We are a leftist channel after all. And or consider super chatting or using the Stream Elements link that I'm going to put in the chat forthwith, because then YouTube doesn't take a 30% cut.
I literally have no idea why. I'm just looking at all the settings and everything's fine. Everything's set.
Are you in? I think you might need to redo reset OBS.
No, I'm not doing that.
Okay, I'm just saying it won't work otherwise.
We're gonna find out. It's just fair. It's like this.
Did you change? Oh, Brooks, are you in the right?
This is the future of entertainment right here.
Are you on the right account?
A sub-deal implies the existence of a DOM deal.
What?
It worked that time. That was Insomnia War's thing. So let's do a couple of these.
All right.
Gingaros, thank you very much for the super chat.
Sure.
Should there be an age limit on the presidency?
I think there should be very strict competency tests and limits. I'm not convinced about an age limit for a couple of reasons. The first is that sometimes people in their 80s are very there, and sometimes people in their 70s are very not. So it depends on the case.
I believe in sortition. So I don't believe there should be any limits or rules around any of it, and it should be randomized for everybody. Above 16.
I was going to say that sounds terrifying, but...
It does. It's awesome.
But it's also... think about what you've got, so... You know what? Let's give it a shot.
A sub-deal implies the existence of a DOM deal.
There we go. Very nice. It's a BDSM comment on the deals.
You'd think so, but apparently there isn't one.
And then, of course, we've got also from the Oblivion Remaxter, which I
think it's Remakester.
Remakester.
Oblivion Remakester.
Do you believe in the socialism or barbarism thing?
No.
I don't know what that is.
I'm going to say no. I don't know.
I don't actually know what that refers to. Socialism or Barbarism is a 2001 book about globalism, U.S. socialism and capitalist systems by Hungarian Marxist philosopher and economist István Metzeros. I'm going to assume you haven't read that?
No.
Me neither. So I don't know. Maybe. It's
I'm
got a cool cover.
going to say probably, given that I probably don't have an agreement on what socialism means with that person, or even that
Let me
want
read you
socialism.
Here. Let's take 5 seconds just because I'm mildly curious.
All right, pop it over. Let's do it. Let's do a reading.
Here's the Wikipedia article. It's got a cool cover. It's got a really
It's got
cool
a cool cover. I
actually.
like cool covers.
That's a very cool cover.
Ooh, that's a very good cover. Shit.
I love that cover. That's a cover. Deleuze book should have that cover.
Very good cover.
Metzeros is convinced that the future of socialism will be decided in the U.S. and sees its main obstacle to be the globalization of Keynesian neoliberalism. He reckons that the 21st century will coincide with the third stage of capitalism, which Metzeros characterizes as the barbarous global competition for domination between a plurality of free market capitalist systems. His examination of the history of American capitalism predicts several eminent ramifications to the struggle.
I wholly disagree with this already, so we're good. Go ahead.
Well, there you go. His examination of the history of the imperialist-driven territorial expansion in the Middle East, the continuation and increase of NATO aggression, increased infrastructure weakening with major degradation in the quality of life of the lower class, and eventually a proxy war with China via U.S.'s defense treaties with Japan. That's very specific. Much of the book is devoted to applying Marx's 19th century theories to current events, such as the environment. Marx was to some extent...
I'm good.
You're good?
You're good? You're good? You want to go down this road? Because
I want to just very, very briefly. It's just only like one paragraph left. Quote, Marx was to some extent already aware of the ecological problem, i.e. the problems of ecology under the rule of capital and the dangers implicit in it for human survival. In fact, he was the first to conceptualize it. He talked about pollution, and he insisted that the logic of capital, which must pursue profit in accordance with the dynamic of self-expansion and capital accumulation, cannot have any consideration for human values and even for human survival. It's not referring to the same thing. What you cannot find in Marx, of course, is an account of the utmost gravity of the situation facing us. For us, the threat to human survival is a matter of immediacy, which is kind of the whole point, which is not something Marx deals with because Silent Spring wasn't a thing yet.
He prescribes is a labor union socialist solution, specifically a syndicalist form of socialism that Gompers had abandoned when the AFL provided a workforce for U.S. involvement in World War I. He advocates a Marxist form of socialism. Again, I'm just even scanning this, my eyes are going to glaze over. The idea of competing free market systems is not a thing that we will run into. It's going to be because again, capitalism doesn't necessitate a pure free market. It's always at the hand of a state.
It actually kind of necessitates the opposite.
It's states is what he's talking about. But then at that point, we're not talking about pure free market. And again, the state is part. I always hate it. Marxists, do you know that state is part of things? For Marx, like capitalism and the market and state are like the thing. That it's part of the same apparatus, that the market doesn't exist separate from the state for Marx?
There's a good book called Globalists, which is a sort of response to my brain's not working. Great Transformation. Help me finish the last name. Paul. The Great Transformation. My brain's not working. Fuck.
That's okay.
Oh my god!
In order to do away with the labor theory of value, you have
Lenny. I kept wanting to say Polernov. I was watching Chernobyl again last night, but which is a really, really good and very inaccurate show. There's a good book that just goes into all of that, and it even talks about like how
oh god,
like Austrians and so on and so forth are just like hyper reliant on regulatory bodies and so on and so forth. Like there just isn't. Nobody actually is a free market capitalist except for like a true pure free market capitalist except for.
Ah tried to warn us. Just saying.
Did he?
What? That's just so you know that person is serial. They do this. They digress.
Do what?
They create digressions. That's what they do.
If they pay for it, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it's a skilled derailment. It's fair, but I'll tell you right now, that person is like. Screams eco-fascist weirdo
really?
Lefty tanky to me. So that the book we were just talking about,
well,
I just read more of it, and it's like
friendly eco-fascist lefty tanky. Your opinion is valued so long as you pay for it. Okay.
No, I'm talking about the guy who wrote the book. I don't know about that person.
Oh, I thought you were dissing the person who kindly gave us cash.
No. Thank you for the.
Which would be very typical for you.
$2. Thank
Quinn
you.
Slobodon, yes, thank you. Globalists.
Oof.
Make exceptions. Explain why you see this as a good negotiating strategy.
Well, in game theory, it's called strategic uncertainty. So you're not going to...
The smug asshole face is, I'm not sure, been perfected quite like this man.
Tell the person on the other side of the negotiation where you're going to end up. And nobody's better at creating this leverage than President.
Listen, as a fellow gobblehaver, okay? Look, when you have... excess skin fat or loose skin on your face, as some people unfortunately do, you do this. Sometimes you can obscure it. And that is 100% what this guy is doing. Because unfortunately, his neck is a ruin. It happens to many of us. Some of us hide it with beards.
Or with Botox.
Can you imagine me with Botox? Dear God.
Can you imagine him without it?
Trump.
You think it's Botox?
That face is...
I think he's just...
he doesn't have forehead wrinkles or emotion. That's...
But his hairline's also pretty good, too. I don't think he has hair implants. I think it's just... This is him. Some people just look like
high
that.
Tariffs. And here's the stick. This is where the tariffs
Look at the wrinkles trying.
And the carrot is come to us, take off your tariffs, take off your non-tariff trade barriers, stop manipulating your currency, stop subsidizing labor and capital, and then we can talk. But I tell you, Martha...
Undo all of your internal economic trade policies for your 1.6 billion person country, and then we'll have a conversation. It's amazing, weird shit.
By the way, we're not sure what we want yet. So just...
Quite literally, if you remember, we watched the interview with that guy where he went, Japanese congregation got together and they went, hey, how you doing? The delegation.
What do you want? We want to work with you guys.
And they
want to work with you. Tell us what you want.
What are you going to give us?
We don't know.
What are you going to give us? Like, stuff? Do you have Nintendos?
Had several of these Asian countries that come in and said, oh, well, we'll stop doing this, this, and this. And I look at these lists and I think, how did we get here? How did we get here? Because this trading system has been so unfair.
It hasn't been unfair.
No, it's a trading system. You're in it because you traded. Nobody held a gun to your head.
Not at all.
You trade. You have the most powerful military in the world. What is the colonial fleet that is at your shores forcing you to accept trade like you're fucking... I don't know, where was that again? That was opium work. My brain's not working. Was that Hong Kong?
And
it was Hong Kong. I kept wanting to say.
Hong Kong, Guangzhou.
Somewhere else, then I realized it's from an Elder
Mostly
Scrolls game.
China and like a lot of places, actually. India too. Asia in general. By the way,
the Fire Nation.
Western people, we did a lot of that shit. We really enjoy doing that.
We're good at it.
And again, we are very good at it. And all the stuff he's talking about, we do. Like, I'm always like in awe of how the simple-minded people have no concept that these are things every country does, let alone the single most powerful country that on the surface of everything adjusts. Oh, we're adjusting interest rates.
Oblivion super chats feel like that episode of South Park where they explain how Family Guy bits are written.
Yeah.
That's just mean-spirited, but thank you, Sir
Yeah.
Shot. I appreciate it. I accept
They're
you
worthwhile little theory bits. Sometimes it's good stuff.
They're not terrible. Guys, don't be mean to fellow chatters unless I tell you that you can. And I'm saying me specifically because Brooks has kinder intentions and meaner execution.
This is accurate. This is accurate.
Trump says, I don't blame the countries. I blame the previous administrations that let him get away with it.
But Mr. Secretary, look.
How about the previous administration before that? Do you blame them too? Like, come on.
Look at what you just heard from Barton O'Brien there. The administration says it's worried about Main Street, not Wall Street. But you heard that small businessman saying his inventory in China might as well be lit on fire because already what has happened and the concern about what's happening next. How do they plan for things?
On that note, the clock is ticking on trade deals U.S. This is, by the way, this is one of those, oh, we're already in the end of things. It is a full-blown crisis already, essentially. U.S. agriculture exporters say the global backlash to President Trump's tariffs is punishing them, especially a decline of Chinese buying U.S. farm products, leading to canceled export orders and layoffs. Peter Friedman, executive director of the ATC, a leading export trade group for farmers, tells CNBC the number of canceled purchases of U.S. agriculture should not be described as approaching a crisis. It is a full-blown crisis already. Data released by the U.S. Department of Agriculture on Thursday revealed China made its biggest cancellation of pork orders since 2020, halting a shipment of 12,000 tons of pork. Massive financial losses are already being shared by its members as a result of the trade war, based on reports it is receiving from member companies.
China will win, by the way, because
China will win.
China can do something that the U.S. can't, even though it has less money and less power. China can let its people die. China can do that. China has the level of authority. Xi Jinping has the kind of authority that China dreams of, and he may not be stronger materially than Trump in terms of the military and economic power that he wields, but the level of control that he has over his population for a short time is not one where let's see, for the foreseeable future, look at how they handled COVID. Okay, you can see the difference, the kinds of measures that they are capable of doing. Yeah,
there's a major culture shift in the sense of when we talk about how China, and they raised more people out of extreme poverty in the last 50 years than has ever happened in the history of humanity. Accurate. But again, that's one generation removed from the current generation. This isn't my grandparents, and maybe your great-grandparents, if you're watching this, went through the Great Depression. And that's the closest that a lot of people who are Americans get to excessive poverty. Multiple generations removed, didn't grow up in the space, didn't even have parents who told them about it or understand how to deal with it. And also, by the way, extreme poverty versus poverty, that's kind of the level we're talking.
Here's the major difference.
China is shifting things back and creating a little bit of ascetic rule that's not going to hit the people in the same way as it will here.
Well, one of the things that me and my partner like doing, because it's kind of fascinating, is we'll sit down and we'll watch like these YouTube channels that will just look at like micro hotels and micro apartments. And it's one of those things where it's like, I could not fathom ever surviving in one of those things, but there are people who thrive in them. It's not because like, they're different. It's that these are people whose lifestyles are plugged into an entirely different type of system in which their expectations for the kinds of things that they carry with them are radically different. Their expectations of the kinds of things that signify wealth, success, or upward mobility are completely different things. When you have people who associate any type of respectability or stability with having things that are now foreclosed to them in their own lifetimes, that is an organic like shock.
It's an extreme one. But just to diverge for a second, not as big of a shock as only having 50 likes while we have 180 people watching.
This is true. Chat, don't be cowards. Dislike the stream. Engagement is engagement. I'm running to the washroom very quickly. We'll continue when I get back. Brooks, play some dubiously uncopyrighted music that will probably get our channel taken down.
I'll do what I can.
We are delighted to announce that we are the last presenters of the evening. I think that's
The Access Showcase categories were created to recognize the purpose of community television, placing the most powerful communication tools of the 20th century into the hands of everyday people.
Our first Access Showcase highlights the uses of cable access to create personal and/or social change in the professional category. The nominees are Environmental High IQ Bowl, Waycross Community Television producers, IT FXU Human Rights Ordinance, Joe Throckmorton and Tim Jester producers, Teen Casa News, colleges, Nancy Schwab, Teen Casa, and City Cable producers. And the winner is Teen Casa News, colleges, Nancy Schwab, Teen Casa, and City Cable producers.
Community news, if you use those drugs, you'll get the blues. It's really cool to be drug-free. Tune in to Teen Casa on TV. Teen Casa, positive news, Teen Casa, news you can use.
I'm accepting this again in the name of Nancy Schwab and the Teen Casa group, the Citizens Against Substance Abuse organization. What they did was about a 3-year project, and they had received some funding to support the project. I know if Nancy were here, she would thank the city cable staff, so I'll make a point of thanking Denny Selm, who worked very closely with their program, Steve Sobel.
Just so everyone's aware, the DARE challenge didn't win any awards this year.
No.
I know. Look, it's Waycross Community Channel. and a few of their other projects that are anti-drug did win. One did win, but the Dare Community Challenge wasn't even nominated.
Not even.
And it's like a tragic reality.
Where have we come to as a society?
I don't know. But as someone asked, who did win the Dare Challenge? The answer, drugs. It is always, who won the drug war? Drugs won. Who won the war on terror? Terror. It's great. We are just fantastic. The war on poverty? Poverty won.
The one thing I love about Alex O'Connor, and it's the sole thing I appreciate him for, is that Peter Hitchens interview where he just got up and left. That was wonderful. Because he wanted to talk about drugs. The guy is always talking about drugs.
Love it.
Let's finish this.
To continue about how bad things are right now. Because again, this is from literally today. A wood pulp and paperboard exporter reported to the trade group the immediate cancellation or hold of 6,400 metric tons in a warehouse at a hold of 15 rail cars sitting in what is known in the supply chain as demurrage, wherein fees are charged for delayed movements of goods. Meanwhile, the exporter said there are 9,000 metric tons on the water to China, expected to arrive May 13th and facing a threat of costly diversion to Chinese bonded warehouses or other countries, as Chinese buyers may refuse the cargo and abandon it at port. These are each individual businesses. This isn't like the Wood Pulp Association is saying 6,400 metric tons. No. One exporter. So just enjoy multiplying that. At a recent stakeholder meeting at the Port of Oakland headquarters regarding tariff impacts, Port of Oakland Executive Director Christy McKinney warned that a tariff-induced downturn in the port's cargo volume, whether from import slowdowns or retaliatory export losses, ultimately could jeopardize job stability and the region's economic health. It's worth noting, people have gone through there. People are talking about like where these things are exported and how they're done. New York and LA, the port in LA is insane. New York too. Apparently volume is down 32% at ports right now, which just happens to be about exactly what China's cut is, by the way, of most of these. It's fucked up. We're like super broken.
If they don't know what's going to happen.
Well, what they know is that the China tariffs are unsustainable because the Chinese cannot sustain this. That if the business people, like the gentleman you interviewed, stop ordering, China has no business model. Their business model is predicated on
China has no business model. The brutal planned economy has no business model that has had a continuous government for the better part of the last century, has no business model. But Trump has a business model. Mr. Concepts of Plans has a business model.
Someone in chat said, what about the war on literacy? I'd tell you, but I couldn't read the report.
Cheap subsidized goods to the U.S.
Okay, I think we get the gist of this. We can just shut it off. Like, look, I'm sorry. At the moment, you're like, what? Really? Why? That's like the one thing you can't say about China under any conditions. That's the entire right-wing critique of China. That's the entire libertarian critique of China. It's literally a planned economy, and here are the problems with that.
Now we're doing it too. This is Zizek wrote about this in the before times. That one of the great challenges we would probably run into is that we would end up with capitalism with the Chinese style of state. And that's kind of what Trump is doing, is he's trying to create a semi-planned, he's talking about it as though he is the person setting prices.
Nah, and I'll tell you why. Because one of the things, the similarity would be at the level of there are local officials who do not communicate issues of urgent importance to the central government because failures would reflect poorly on them, and then you get issues like COVID having a slow reaction.
I feel like I can give examples of that happening.
The difference
is distributism good, i.e.
No.
Cesar Chavez, Chesterton.
No.
All
right.
No, it's very bad. Chesterton is not a political thinker for a reason. Or is not remembered as a political thinker for a reason. He wrote some cute novels though. Here's the difference. That dynamic is taking place at the level of Trump's inner circle of advisors.
Okay.
That's the difference. It is the same, but here's the thing. Xi Jinping can rely on the people in his city to report things to him. Trump can't rely on people in his house to report things to him.
I think there's some truth to that. There's China's having a lot of issues as well.
Yeah, it is.
And a lot of the similar issues, actually.
Watched the whole Gamers Nexus thing because of you. Great stuff. Also, hi Sunday, hope everything is good. You are looking youthful today.
Thank you very much. I've been focusing on my health recently. It's been showing results.
Good.
Honestly, being demonetized is the best thing that happened to me in a long time.
Sir, on that note, how much are we paying President Bukaki for holding these prisoners? I don't know. I could get you the information, but we're paying less than we would normally. Did you personally approve those payments? No, I didn't.
Hang on. Who would you be paying normally for illegally holding people in a death camp without any sort of legal recourse?
Peter Zahan says that she is constantly lied to.
All leaders are constantly lied to.
Well, Xi is constantly lied to, but the difference is that you don't have Peter Hegseths in his Politburo. That's what I'm talking about. Like,
it's a fair difference. It's Xi is lied to, but I also think that we've seen that Xi is a clever enough political operative that he's able to understand how he's being, like, again, everyone in leadership is always lied to.
Xi is a tyrant with all of the disadvantages that come with being feared by people in your government. Okay, there are yes men. This has been the case forever, since before Mao. That's what happens when you have that kind of situation. However, Xi is not completely incompetent. Trump is completely incompetent. The people Xi surrounds himself with are not all completely incompetent. Everyone Trump surrounds himself with is completely incompetent. Now make it so that they can't talk to each other at any level. That's what you're that's it. That's what you got. Like, Xi's not good. Xi bad. Xi bad. Not saying Xi good. Xi has had to very publicly go after people in his own inner circle. He's had to go after people like military officials. Like, he's had to shake things up because his government is not competent in that way. What it is, though, is not incompetent in the way Trump's is, which is not at the level, to be clear, of, like, it doesn't even rise to the level of, like,
it's
systematic problem. It's not a systematic problem with his. It's not a systematic problem with his government. It's that it's made up of garbage people. Like, that's
Speaking of,
yeah.
Speaking of, can you talk a little bit about the budget? He says to the president. Yeah, and if we didn't do it, then you two would not be safe, I guarantee it. Some Republicans are considering raising taxes on millionaires in the package you're planning to pass that would extend your 2017 tax cuts. Do you support that idea? Well, I'll tell you. Are you ready? I certainly don't mind having a tax increase. The only reason I wouldn't support it is because I saw Bush where he said, read my lips, and he lost an election. He would have lost it anyway, but he lost an election. He got beat up pretty good. I would be honored to pay more, but I don't want to be in a position where we lose an election because I was generous. But me, as a rich person, would not mind paying, and we're talking about very little. We're talking about 1 point. It doesn't make that much difference, and yet I could just see somebody trying to bring it up as a subject and, say, oh, he raised taxes. Well, I wouldn't be really, in the true sense, I wouldn't. I'd be raising them on wealthy to take care of middle class, and I love that. I actually love that concept, but I don't want it to be used against me politically, because I've seen people lose elections for less, especially with the fake news. Whew. I find this incredible. Like, these are the moments. George Bush won the election where he said, read my lips, no new taxes. By the way.
Yep.
So, he's like, again, and he was around for that. He was actually involved in politics at the time. This was the 80s. This was like prime Trump. So he asked, do you think it would cover the cost that would be getting lost from getting rid of taxes on tips and some of those other proposals? Well, that would be able to take it. See, that would be able to do it, but I would not mind personally paying more. But the concept is something that may not be acceptable to the public. Raising taxes on the wealthy is not something acceptable to the public. I would totally do it if they would let me, but I don't think the people would let me. It's great. Experts estimate that the House Republican budget will result in more than $800 billion in losses to Medicaid over the next 10 years. Do you support that?
Lex Fridman thinks Camus is the best philosopher.
Yeah, but he would, because the only thing he reads is what's on
Camus.
the... Yeah, there's nothing wrong with Camus, but he's not the best philosopher. He's a good novelist.
I'm not even sure he's a philosopher.
He's a philosopher. I'd say mythicist.
He's a thinker. But
he's just a philosopher. Look, if hey, would you consider D.H. Lawrence to be a philosopher? I would.
Not really.
Really?
He's a writer and a poet.
I think
philosophers create concepts. He didn't create concepts.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Bush Sr. lost 1992 election after the read my lip.
But that's like saying Biden lost after
notion
Bush.
Of blood consciousness. That's a concept. That was somewhat novel. He's as much as a philosopher. He's just not as good. He's as much a philosopher as
just correct Gingros.
Yeah.
Read My Lips, No New Taxes was said in 1988's Republican National Convention when he accepted the nomination and he won. Like that it was said that he lost 4 years later. It's like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
To continue, do you support that? Due to what? The House Republican budget that would cut roughly $800 billion from Medicaid. I don't think they're going to cut $800 billion. They're going to look at waste, fraud, and abuse. So you would veto a bill if it cuts Medicaid. And he continues to sort of go on. This has to be one account.
Peter
right?
Zahan has an alternative take on the tariffs.
I don't. Okay.
Good for Peter.
Peter's cool. Yay, Peter Zahan, you do your thing. I don't understand what the fuck is happening in chat sometimes.
They're paying for us. Just smile and nod, okay?
Yeah. Oh, again, gross. He didn't say it. Well, I mean, he did say it was in the White House. He said it on the stage at the RNC in 1988. It's a literal memory for me. Feel free to look it up, I bet. So he says he would then veto it, and then he would sign it. He starts going on. And then, one sec, there was one more little bit that I thought was just fucking wild. Let's talk about the cuts. As you know, Mr. President, a lot of American companies do business with the government. The DOGE cuts aren't just affecting government employees. They're also affecting American businesses that provide goods and services to the federal government. There were nearly 280,000 layoffs in March across virtually every sector. Just take in that number for a second genuinely. That's a 250,000 people lost their jobs just in March.
Yep. Hey, by the way, it's okay. We can just rehire them if we need them back.
Well, this is what's great. He asks them, why is it better for these people to be out of jobs? I think this guy understands how to interview Trump because Trump runs with it.
I just can't.
He runs with it.
I just want to dwell on this for just 1 second, if you'll allow me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's think about this for a second. You lost 280,000 people, but it's okay. It's okay because if we find out that we need them, we can just hire them back. Hey, who's going to do these interviews? Like, who's going to be in a position to spend time to hire all of these people while also doing the work of however many hundred people were just axed around them? And by the way, the fact that you're hiring them back means you didn't know who was needed for what. So how do you know that you even have the expertise in your organization to conduct the interviews competently? So you're not hiring people who don't know what they're doing.
But this is the best part about why this guy asks him, why is it better for these people to be out of jobs? Which is, I think, amazingly leading. And he answers, because we have to have an efficient country. He says, he just goes with it. when the country gets down to bare knuckles, you're going to see something the likes of which this world has never seen before. We're going to make our country strong, powerful, and very rich again. Right now, our country is not sustainable. We're being ripped off by everybody in the world. Other countries, other people, other militaries are ripping us off. We're protecting countries for no money or for very minimal
money. What military is ripping off the U.S.? Oh, he means Ukraine, of course.
He means NATO. Also.
NATO. Yeah, Ukraine.
And everyone. Canada, too, by the way. He said he talked about your military mooching off of us because...
I mean, that's true, to be fair. Basically,
it's true for a lot of countries. Like
forget mooching. We're basically
we've spent 50 years forcing ourselves into the position of global hegemony. We're the hegemon. That's what you do. I just love when.
I'm not saying his logic makes sense. I'm just saying just as a bare statement, like it's almost a meme that like Canada basically doesn't have a functional military that can export any degree of power because we rely on our bigger neighbor for defense.
I've seen Canadian bacon.
That is not bacon. That is
No, it's a movie.
Oh.
Really?
Do you know what Canadian bacon is? It's like
it's pork shoulder cut thin sliced. It's different type of thing, but I'm talking about the movie Canadian
salami
bacon.
in denial, yeah.
It's not salami in denial. Canadian bacon is actually full sliced meat, whereas salami is not sliced. It's actually stuffed, and it's like sausage ground.
It tastes the same. Whatever. Keep going.
Canadian Bacon. Excellent film. John Candy, Michael Moore, the documentarian. It's his feature film. You should watch it. It's fucking great. I think I got a kick out of it.
It is ham. It is
it's ham.
Okay. Maybe I'm look, the Canadian bacon they have at McDonald's is shitty, okay?
McDonald's is shitty. There you go.
Also, shitty salami and shitty bologna do taste like Canadian bacon, which is also shitty pork. So there.
We're supposed to be, number one, taking care of ourselves, and number two, helping people when we can, helping outside people and outside countries when we can. But we've been ripped off by levels you've never seen. European Union sounds nice, but they've been very tough. $300 billion loss. I don't even know what that means. Like, as a sentence, it's great. China, hundreds of billions of dollars in losses. And I can go through a list, but I don't want to, because there are many friendly countries. Our friendly countries, in many cases, are worse than our enemies. But it's not a sustainable model. This is, again, he's just empty. Domestically, for instance, your administration blocked grants for the National Institutes of Health that funded research into infectious diseases, cancer, Alzheimer's. Well, maybe we didn't think they were right. You look at the people. Look at the money that was given away by others. We didn't get anything out of it. I love that. What did you tell the families of people who are suffering from those diseases? We're taking care of, we're spending a lot. I spent 58. We spent, I think 58 billion in the first term. We're spending tremendous amounts of money, and I am now, but they have to be a little bit careful. A lot of the money, like Stacey Abrams, got $2 billion on the environment. They had $100 in the account, and she just got $2 billion before these people left, and had to do with something that she knows nothing about.
I did not mean salami. Salami is something totally different.
You said salami. That's why I was.
I did say salami, and I'm realizing, like, wait a minute. No, salami is the chewy one with the big pieces of fat that's usually spicy. This is something else. Whatever. Moving on.
You said you would end the war in Ukraine on day one. Well, I said that figuratively. I said that as an exaggeration because to make a point, and it gets, of course, by the fake news. Obviously, people know that when I said that, it was in jest, but it was also said that it will be ended.
It was in jest. It was in jest. I'll end the war in Ukraine. It was just a joke, bro. It's a prank.
It's wild. Wild.
Why are you telling us to plug the stream? You're in the stream. Plug it to who?
June is just saying hey, by the way, welcome to In the Fold. It's the station announcement where we say, hey, if you like this, if you're supporting us, we're going through this. This is the fun stuff, and we're doing good analysis. And I think it's good shit, and you should support us. You should support us by buying memberships, donating memberships, super chats, donos in the chat. Do all those things. Subscribe and like and all that. We'd love to have you help us, support us, get this moving more. We have some really good emojis, too, if you become a member.
And if you donate a membership and it catches senators, then you will get to pick Brooks's next nail and or hair color. You'll decide
Yes. Later. Ooh. Yes.
Whoever donates some memberships and catches senators, SANITORZ. It's a random person in the chat. The memberships are given out randomly. You catch them. You get to pick Brooks's next color.
And I have many, many colors of nail polish.
I'm pretty sure he's just using a filter to fake the color changes at this point, but...
No, the hair for sure. The hair is not green, although it does a really cool thing under very specific filters. It's pink and blue, though. This part right here is real. The green is not. It's kind of, I think it's cool looking, personally.
Lies.
Lies that it looks good? That's terrible. There, June gifted 20 memberships. Thank you very much, June.
So you're going to get the first one.
Is Cliff Connectal credible in his arguments?
Who? I don't know who that is.
This has to be the same. Is this an AI bot?
No, it's a person who probably...
It's got to be the same person, right?
Why would it... It's a different person. Why would it be?
Yeah, but they're bringing up like Peter Zahan, and they're bringing up like weird...
But with different accounts, different people. We didn't block them.
They're all these like weird...
Cliff Connectal is like a religious apologist guy. There's no connection between these figures. It just... People
I'm not saying between the figures directly, but they're all sort of weird, slightly off-edge commentators on global issues.
Yeah, you're a nerd who attracts like a very intellectually in multiple dimensions diverse array of people.
I mean,
who want to know your opinion on da-da-da-da-da.
Fair.
That's it. However, given that this person I think is known as an apologist, I have a suspicion that one's actually asking for my opinion.
If it's a Christian question, it's going to be for your opinion.
Probably. I don't know. Join me on my channel on President Sunday Prime tonight, and I'll give it a look-see, because I'm mildly curious now that you bring up the name. Alas, June, thank you very much for the 20 gifted memberships, but you did not catch senators.
Not quite.
Not quite. Close, but no donut. Whoever catches senators in a membership, you get to pick Brooks's next hair color.
You've talked about acquiring Greenland, taking control of the Panama Canal, making Canada the 51st state. Maybe you're trolling a little bit on that one. I don't know. Actually, no, I'm not. Well, do you want to grow the American empire? Well, it depends as an empire. It wasn't. These are not things that we had before. So I'd view it a little bit differently if we had the right opportunity. Yeah, I think Greenland would be very well off if I think it's important for us for national security and even international security. Fuck, what a sentence. I think Canada, what you said that one I might be trolling, but I'm not trolling. Canada is an interesting case. We lose $200 to $250 billion a year supporting Canada. I asked a man who I called Governor Trudeau. I said, why? Why do you think we're losing so much money supporting you? Do you think that's right? Do you think it's appropriate for another country to make it possible for a country to sustain? And he was unable to give me an answer, but it costs us over $200 billion a year to take care of Canada. Another set of gifts. Oh, that one's finally going through. Thank you, June. That one took a while. That was weird.
That took a long while. Wow, that was weird.
It waits until all of them are gifted, maybe?
That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
It should just do it at the beginning.
I have no idea.
Huh. It didn't work and you just clicked replay, didn't you?
No. Don't have it open. We're taking care of every aspect of their lives. We don't need them to make cars for us. I love it. In fact, we don't want them to make cars for us. We want to make our own cars. We don't need their lumber. We don't need their energy. With
what, Donald? What are you going to make the cars out of? We don't give you the cars. We give you the pieces that we put together from the pieces you send here.
Some of the questions are asked. If we are attacked, do you risk being blamed for letting down our defenses? What does that mean? If we're subject to an attack, do you risk being blamed because of these cuts? He talks about the FBI chief, the intelligence cuts, all of that. I think I'll be blamed no matter what.
Oh, no.
I think if I make the country unbelievably successful, which it's not now, we owe $36 trillion, right? It's, when you think about it, a lot of money. A lot of money, but no, I think I'll be...
Is David Bentley Hart philosophically sound?
Not as sound as David Liebhart.
No, but he's interesting. There are people who take David Bentley Hart's translational decisions seriously. He is worth looking at, and his translation of the New Testament is actually quite good in parts.
I would say his brother David Liebehart, Liebe, is actually probably more important philosophically. Salome.
You mean the musician?
He's a philosopher.
They are very clearly not siblings.
Really? They were adopted. That's why they have the same first and last name.
Keep going.
Salome. I'm used to it. You may be right about that. UNICEF says that more than
Senators was gifted. Senators got a membership.
Senators got a membership?
Yep.
Wait, when did that happen? Oh,
Just
June.
now.
June got it. All right, June.
Why was that so slow? That was weird.
It was very strange. I'm not sure.
Well, wow. You have to change your hair color for $20. That's dark.
David Liebhart's thoughts on the Bible I actually value a lot more than David Bentley Hart's, because I think it's the Lieb versus the Bentley we're talking about ultimately.
Is President Sunday a philosophical reactionary?
I don't know.
Yeah, you do.
I mean, I know. I don't know who these people are. That's what I meant. I know you're not. I'm just.
Well, I was bringing to say I am, clearly.
I mean, I react to philosophy, so.
By the way, I saw your post and I disagree with it vehemently.
What post?
Your QC post.
What thing?
I will show you
the critique I got.
Yeah, I think you're listening to it, and that's
Hope Sunday voted. Grimace.
No, I actually like the idea behind it, or at least what I'm going to be doing with it.
I like the idea behind it. I just think it's misguided as a decision. Quote, the channel got a lovely rebuke from a comment a day or two ago, which landed powerfully with me. It simply stated that we needed to actually do more work to onboard people instead of simply complaining about the failures of others. A fair critique.
Yeah, it is.
Here's the problem. You only gain the awareness of people to on board through critique. Otherwise, nobody knows you're there. That's what distinguishes you from your average.
I'm going to stop doing critique. Literally, the words are instead of only doing.
Yeah.
So the implication would be alongside.
I don't think you were only complaining about the failures of others, though. I think it's an unfair self-diagnosis.
This last stream, I got like kind of dumpy negative on the guy.
It's a stream that happens. You don't measure it by the stream. You measure it by the pattern.
I mean, I measure it by my general reaction. I didn't enjoy how I treated the guy. I think overall, I think he sucks. Don't get me wrong.
Bai?
No, Jonathan Bai sucks. I'm fine with that. It was the other one where the guy did the short and then he had that pithy response and then I went into his larger video about the BWO. We got 7 minutes in.
That was not a response I would characterize as pithy. That was dismissive and it was arrogant and it was stupid. I think he deserved it. He deserved that treatment.
I agree to a point. But then I landed into, I think, I was overtly negative instead of a generally constructive criticism. And I prefer a critique instead of simply shitting on someone. That's a thing I'm trying to train out of myself. It's a general behavior thing. It's not any of that. June, I need to know a general color that you would like me to start with, and then we will start selecting. So pick a color, and I will show you the options I have for that. I have too many.
Twilight Realm.
I have too many options in this box. My kids bought me this. It's a sparkly. I have lots of different ones. Neon green. I have 9 shades of fucking pink. Like, I need something, June. So you got to pick one. But the underlying thing for me is I didn't like my overall negativity. My goal is more to create a different type of interaction with people. And I think I let the frustration I had.
Found it. It was my pants. Sorry.
God,
as you were
just teeing up a comment. That's going to get clipped.
You don't understand. I threw the thing and it vanished.
Right into
your
pants.
Gone.
Right in your pants.
It was just right up my butt. Yeah.
The underlying thing is I prefer to have the more friendly back and forth. I've critiqued you, and I have, by the way, at some point you're going to do videos on Anti-Oedipus. You're going to make comments, and I'm going to be critiquing you because it's the way it works. I want to make sure that I'm in a position that it isn't negative, that I practice a better way of doing it. And I'm not happy with how that went. So I took down the stream. I'm going to be editing it out.
He's creating consistency to give me special treatment. I understand now. And now suddenly I approve. Okay,
yeah, well, it's for everyone. This is him
pardoning Hunter Biden before Trump comes into office. That's what this is.
Yeah, there we go. No, it's I try to think of every person as someone I have that personal connection with. I try not to consider them as some random other outside of it. If Philosophy Tube, for example, were a friend, these are the things I would say to that person. I have said things to more important, bigger people that are worse. So like the critique or mentioning of a thing. There's the saying of you can tell that someone doesn't have friends because they dress a certain way. Because if they had friends, the friends would go, that shirt ain't for you. Like a friend would do that. Same thing. You want to be that person for everyone. And that's more the thing. I didn't like how negative it was. I'm still going to be doing the same thing. I'm going to come back to that guy's video and we're going to go through word by word and I'm going to explain how he's wrong in an extreme way. But also I need to be doing better, more onboarding videos because the complexity of my response to him about what the body without organs is requires just an in-depth, ridiculous sort of on the curve of difficulty. I'm off the charts. So
which had best chance of winning their wars, the Confederacy, Central Powers or Axis powers? Having friends in our economy.
What a weird question, Gangaros.
All of them had the same chance.
I recommend reading Trade Wars Are Class Wars. It's concise but comprehensive and influential book on trade imbalances. Also, what's your opinion on Mark Fisher?
Oh boy.
I mean,
I don't have opinions on Mark Fisher.
Either that person knows me extremely well and is literally like, oh, Brooks thinks he's going to be nicer about critiques. Let's find out if that's fucking true.
I'm choosing to interpret it that way. That's although a lot of people like Mark Fisher.
Well, let's do the first one there. Who had the best chance of winning their wars? I think the answer is all of them had an equally good chance. Clearly. I'm right. I mean, the answer is 0%.
I think what they like, I take them to be asking who had the most advantageous starting position, maybe. In which case, Axis powers, clearly. But
really, I think again,
starting position.
They all really lost all their shit.
Yeah, at the end, but they
that's
off.
Like,
they had a pretty good start.
That's like saying, what are the odds that roll of the dice would have been what it came up as? The answer is 100%.
No. The question is, what are the odds the outcome will be positive given a lucky first pull of the slot machine, and then you keep doing it because you got right. A little bit
but after the slot machine is pulled, the answer is, oh yeah, the chances of that pull happening is
no.
100%.
They all lost because they're all abortive in the crib. It's the end was written in the beginning. But I don't know. I'm trying to make sense. I'm trying to like respect the fact that they gave us money to.
I don't believe in talking about possible and real in terms of like fantasy what if altist things. For me, it's a matter of actualization versus the virtualization.
Well, I've got some good news for you. What if Altist doesn't either? He hasn't done alt history in
the virtual thing is what it is. Like we're past it.
Yeah.
So that's how chance works. Chance is ramified and it's created inside of itself.
You can have fun with it though.
I mean, you might be able to have fun with it.
I'm working.
Like,
I'm counting us on
this
the clock
is it'd be like
I'm just trying to be the one person
here
here
defeating the rebellion in Star Wars Episode 4. What are the chances that they would have defeated them? if something had gone differently in the way that a story was written for children.
Yeah. I didn't take it to be a determinist, Brooks. It could have happened differently.
I'm not. It happened in the past. It's done. The odds are 100%. The dice roll is done.
It's bold of you to assume that time is real.
It is.
Nah, it's not.
The thing happened. It's actualized.
Nah, it happened.
Don't know what to tell you.
Anymore.
Having friends in our economy. No, that's a other comment. I recommend reading Trade Wars, Class Wars. It's concise but comprehensive and influential book on trade imbalances. It's very good.
Is it?
And dry, a little drier than I think most, but
it's
it is
Trade Wars. So
yeah.
Will be right.
It's a little bit more on the pop side of dry, but it is still. It's not, fucking Freakonomics or some dumb bullshit. It's actually got a lot in there.
I want to hear what you say about Mark Fisher now.
Mark Fisher is a problematic semi-intellectual who people call a philosopher because of a handful of works he wrote inside of a larger group that basically was hyper-privileged to be white, semi-wealthy people in Britain who somehow all were deeply reactionary, yet came out somehow as being seen as bastions for a new left, despite Nick Land and a lot of people in that space clearly showing that ain't the case. And most of what Mark Fisher did was misunderstand philosophy and reference things and come up with boring ideas. He does a lot of stuff around nostalgia, and Grafton Tanner beats the shit out of him when it comes to like
really
actually
good.
Interesting ways to talk about nostalgia. Mark Fisher's capitalist realism is, you can't say he's in the tradition of Deleuze because he believes in the ideology of capitalism, which is not a thing for Deleuze. There's no ideology in Deleuze and Guattari's work at all. It's something they literally undo.
There are ideologies as like social elements, but ideology is not.
There's no ideology. Ideology is not a thing. Not for Deleuze and Guattari. Reality is what is created through the sort of interaction directly with desire and the social.
No, sure, but it's a category of something else. It's not primary. So like they do talk about at various points.
For Mark Fisher, it is.
They'll refer to, for Mark Fisher, it is. They'll talk about like ideologies, but they aren't going to talk about ideology in the sense of this is a constitutive part of reality that they're very much against.
Do you ever think about the BWO and the 3 synthesizers and then think about the mechanics of thinking about that? Makes my head hurt.
I mean, that's what Deleuze's project is understanding that we can think about it. The ability for us to have abstraction that we're able to consider and that we're able to react to. Thought is not something that is just going. We don't just have thoughts and it's growing out of our head like plants. Thoughts are evoked out of us by conditions in the world and material conditions and desire interacting with structures. That's the beauty of things, is that we're able to consider and then use that space. The example I like to give, and I did in the stream this weekend, Dota 2 has a meta, and it always has a meta. Every video game has metas, but the people who are really creative are the people who understand what that meta is and how to fuck with it. Because the people who fuck with the meta by breaking it, introducing a character intended to be used in a way that's not expected, who wins tournaments by doing so. Recently, Tidehunter being used as a core and playing completely different with a new set of, just took a tournament by storm, and everyone's like, what the fuck? That trick is actually the beauty of these things, because you can't get away from the manufacturing of said meta or the manufacturing of said structures. Instead, it's understanding the process and then being able to utilize that to counter-actualize it. That's the beauty of it.
I just while we're on this tangent, I recently finished Anti-Oedipus, my first read through, which was really, really good.
It's a good book.
I went really slow, but the last somewhere between 10 and 5 pages, I can't remember exactly. It's a very long night, but right over the course of like 6 hours, it suddenly gets a whole lot more conversational and actually readable compared to everything that came before. And by the way, no matter how much you think you've figured out the first chapter, you haven't figured out the first chapter until you've read the last one. Just FYI, because they change everything. But I was just reading it, and I had Plastic Pill's video on Anti-Oedipus open, And it was just like, boom, boom, boom.
It's
they
rough.
said this. No, we're actually explicitly saying not this. They said this. No, we're actually explicitly saying not this. And just the entire thing is just them punching plastic pills in the face over and over again. And I enjoyed that. It was funny. Every single thing he says in that video, I didn't realize it because it's not just like, oh, if you actually read Anti-Oedipus and you understand the fine nuances. No, literally, the stuff he says in that video, they suddenly get down to brass tacks and talk normal for a second. It's like, yeah, just so you know, guys, we're firmly distinguishing between schizophrenizing as a process and the schizophrenic as a patient. These aren't the same thing, you idiots, you clowns.
Yeah, and they really make a pretty extreme point in the last. I mean, you wrote me and you were like, I just finished this. Holy shit, I didn't realize how fucking wrong plastic pills. It's like, yes, they outright state it almost as if they had seen Plastic Pills video to make their commentary.
Yeah.
It's pretty excessive, to say the least.
Yeah.
Pretty excessive.
Yeah.
So generally, that's my take on Mark Fisher. I used to have the belief of, well, anything that gets people reading philosophy. But in my experience, most people who read Mark Fisher end up being steered down a road of what I would say is Jordan Peterson type authors who comment at best and don't actually get into it. Someone wrote and said, well, if Camus not a philosopher, what do you mean? It's like, here's the thing. I like Camus. I have multiple Camus books behind me. I adore Camus.
To Brooks, and that is why Amza is the best Smash player ever.
Breaking metas is a wonderful thing. And it's, again, if you want, you can go read Summoning Salt. Watch his videos on speedrunning and the meta of every speedrun, and then those people who subvert it and break it. This is the thing that makes that powerful, and our ability to do that, counter-actualizing the meta and working against it. But someone's like, oh, Camus, why isn't he a philosopher? It's like, he makes commentary, he writes stories, he makes us think about things. These are good. I'm not saying otherwise, but the creation of concepts is a very, very particular form of creation that puts them separate from, as Deleuze goes into in What is Philosophy, artists or painters or scientists and rhetoricians and things like that. It's really important to sort of understand what the actual work of philosophy is and how it operates, because the creation process of it is incredibly important. And the creative act itself.
I've been thinking about this a little bit. I think one of the major dangers too is like false starts in philosophy can be really abortive, especially if somebody is doing it because they want to fill in some like slot in their self-improvement or their character sheet, if you will. I have read a philosopher. I have this background. I am now robust in a way that I wasn't before, that other people aren't. Chud Logic used to talk all the time about Mark Fisher's Capitalist Realism because it was the book he read. That's back when he was a soft-spoken leftist creator who, if you don't believe in hormones for children, then you advocate for dead children. That was Chud Logic once upon a time. It's crazy. Like, what happens is, if you get people who are getting an interest in this stuff for vanity reasons, where they are following channels because these are philosophy channels, and there's a guy on the channel who's like giving you like this like, and this is like a plastic pills, or like a lot of these right-wing channels too. The channels that always have in the comments like, oh, this is so brilliant, you're so wonderful for doing this. None of them understand a word about what's been said or what they're talking about.
Yep.
What happens is people read this stuff, they'll read it badly, and then they'll stop because they weren't actually interested in philosophy. And moreover, they didn't know that there was a thing to be interested in. They wanted to be someone who did that kind of thing, who was involved in that kind of thing. And so they did the bare minimum to get to that point, to their own personal satisfaction. And they abandoned it, but they didn't stop them from talking about it or from like lecturing other people or from spreading stuff.
Yeah.
And so what ends up happening is you just end up with like semi-informed people who are now inoculated from learning further. I would much rather people get an interest in subjects and then wind their way from actually being interested in stuff to getting into deep material about that stuff and then getting into philosophy, because that's how people who are serious about it do it anyways. They liked stuff, they were interested in stuff that was germane to philosophical like elaboration or interrogation or something, and that's how they got into it. Like, I'd rather people just get really into science fiction or horror or something.
Well, it is that, and again, if you like the kind of stuff that Camus does, I would argue like you're adjacent and you're playing in very interesting spaces, but you like poetry. And the problem is when it comes to like prose and poetry, it's considered and seen as different. It's almost like we don't understand what prose and poetry has always been. It's a commentary space where people write prose, essays, comment on things, but it's not philosophy. Jonathan Swift, for example, with his Modest Proposal. This is not philosophy. It's excessive commentary that's deeply political.
It's not. I would modify that slightly. It's not a work of philosophy by itself. It can absolutely, like, engaging with it can absolutely be in the domain of philosophy, though.
Yes, but but that makes it, again, that isn't a category that is useful, because it's also the same as saying it could just be entertainment. Like, yes, there's a billion ways that you can engage with the thing, but what it's doing and the actual activities that it's taking part in is not the same as the process, for example, of understanding Platonic ideals, for example, or how representation works, or Lacanian, the Borromean knot.
That's fair, but
desire.
I would point out that the idea of Platonic ideals are introduced through drama, right? Like, Platonic dialogues are not treatises.
Right, but there is concepts being created through that.
No, absolutely. All I'm saying is that the novel form, for example, or
no, format
poetry,
doesn't
like,
matter.
You can
again,
do that
I'm with
through
you on that.
Yeah.
Format is almost irrelevant. Like, on the one side, you have like Spinoza's geometric nightmare. That's like the most. I find it beautiful, but it is a very unique style of writing that is the opposite almost of poetry. It still works, but then you go down and find. I find a lot of Deleuze's odd writing, like take Anti-Oedipus. You could say it's not a philosophical work because it is playing in a really weird place, and they're talking about things. They're not expressly doing traditional analytic philosophy.
Bergson, Nobel Prize in Literature.
Bergson is a fantastic example. Rouillé, another fantastic example. These are commentary, but they're creating concepts as they do their work. And this can be done in a lot of different ways. This is where I hit that sort of wall where it's like the commentary space allows you to be continually glancing off of and never diving in. It puts you in the same space. For example, in philosophy is the only place you see this happen, which is why I think I get more frustrated than most. There are Mark Fishers in the world of science. And by that, I mean science communicators who actually just sort of talk about general ideas, but don't dive in super, super fucking deep. And that science or Freakonomics is a great example of this. Freakonomics is like a bullshit text about economics that created a lot of, like, people read and thought was really serious, but it had no rigor behind it, no traditional economic studies, and was kind of bullshitted throughout. But it had a huge impact because it spoke to emotions of people rather than actually deep, interesting economic works, which I have a few. They do not read that well. So these glancing sort of odd blows to these subjects. Hey, I don't need to learn about science. I don't need mathematics to understand black holes. I'm just going to read Stephen Hawking's Brief History of Time and tell everyone about it.
Sure. Okay, but and here's where I think you're being a little bit unfair to Camus. We're going to come back to that for a brief second. The creation of concepts. It doesn't need to be like a definitive creation of positive concepts that are useful forever and for all time. They just need to be concepts that are distinct and can be deployed.
Yes, correct.
Right? Okay, so I would say then that, like, the various notions of the absurd that Camus introduces in, for example, the Myth of Sisyphus, I would give that credit.
Have you ever had anyone say, Camusian absurdist?
No, but that's anecdotal. I haven't heard people say anything about Bergsonian either, except until very
you
recently.
literally do, actually.
Very inoften.
Bergsonian
The point is that would be an accident of biography. That's a thing that could happen to me. It's something that might not. I'm just saying, like, the fact that I haven't encountered that doesn't mean that's something someone couldn't do or that it wasn't a work of philosophy. And absolutely, people talk about Camusian notion of absurdity or something like that. Not in those terms, but that's a thing.
But again,
it's
pushing it. It's pushing.
I don't think it's pushing it. I don't think it's pushing it. I don't think it's like particularly deep philosophy. I think it is philosophy, though.
But again, this is for me, it's literature. For me, it's art. For me, it's that thing. It's someone mentions Kafka. Kafka played in exactly the same space Camus did. He did not do philosophy. He is building stories and ideas that we can talk about. They're not philosophical concepts.
Have an organizer friend who really likes Mark Fisher and isn't really reactive. Is there some positive cess to Fisher?
I'm sure there's some positiveness to Fisher somewhere.
People can read
himself, so maybe he disagrees.
You could do a reading of Peterson like Jordan Peterson that like you could say is like good, and then you come out the other side and you're not reactive. It doesn't mean that the book is.
A whole lot of people do that too, and it makes me so mad. I hate how people just treat him with baby gloves. It's weird. It's actually weird. I was going on a rant about this last stream I had privately. Like it's weird when you have these like media figures that a bunch of like really eminent people will then review, and they'll be like, "Oh, good for him. Look, he's actually talking. That's actually really interesting." It's like, no, it's not. You would never seek this stuff out if you were genuinely interested in developing your thoughts on anything. Why are you doing this? Like, why are you all treating this like this is a respectable thing and not obviously the of an act of vanity by a man in clear late decline? It's yeah.
You're not going to get me to again. Once we start talking about like what these things do and how they work, there's some particular things around all of this, and it's the line starts being in a really particular place for me. And I love Camus. I've got Camus behind me. The idea of how he plays with absurdism in the same way that if I were to call something Kafkaesque, people can understand that, even though it's probably an overused word. That is a thing that we're seeing more and more. But Kafka didn't invent Kafkaesque Kafka didn't invent a concept called Kafka. He wrote from a position that was necessarily in this odd space that put him in contrast to stuff. And I would say Camus played in generally those same circles. You could say the same of, I'm sorry.
It has to do with what they're doing, not so much the quality of their works. Like, for example, I would consider Proust to be a lot more deep than someone like Camus. I would consider The Myth of Sisyphus to be a work of philosophy. I would consider In Search of Lost Time to be more philosophically interesting, but that's not a work of philosophy. Right? Like, I don't think it's necessarily to do with like how deep the thing is. I think it literally just is the kind of activity, because at a certain
it's what's created, literally.
Yeah, but like you can have low quality philosophy, or you can have like philosophy that like is just earlier, hasn't been elaborated upon. Like it also doesn't cease to be philosophy either, based on, because like what you were talking about then would be what is philosophy is actually a biographical detail of a work's history, because it obviously does not keep creating concepts. It creates concepts once. I wouldn't even necessarily consider, like when we're talking about a work of philosophy, it's like this is an artifact left behind by philosophy. This is the articulation of the creation of a concept. But this by itself obviously is not doing so actively. Yeah. So like in that vein, like I would regard Camus' The Myth of Sisyphus to be a work of philosophy like that. That doesn't necessarily mean I would say that it is more productive of concepts, absolutely, than say something like by Kafka, just as an example. Like productive in the sense of like it's more useful for just creative thinking afterwards.
This is a much more complex thing, because when we talk about like what then a concept is and how it operates and what it does, it kind of matters as well, because it's not just an idea of a thing.
Yeah.
So it's its own little bit. Again, ultimately, at the end of the day, read what you want, find the stuff that leads to passions, and enjoy yourself. That's all that I give a fuck about ultimately. If you are wanting to get into philosophy and play into these spaces and understand Deleuze, I will tell you right now, Mark Fisher is the wrong fucking way in. And I know too many people, and I mean all of them who have ever come into the QC or in the Deleuze subreddit, or that I've run into, who are like, hey, I just started reading Anti-Oedipus. I came in, Mark Fisher, I really liked Vampire Castle. I really like this. I like and then they start telling me what they understand about AO, and I've never had anyone not just completely blow it out.
I've been recommending Bergson and Nietzsche generally. They're readable, and Deleuze is like 80% Bergson and Nietzsche most of the time. But at some level, like it's kind of what I've seen is that's what you're dealing with. I can't think of many other people who are going to be like accessible or available that they deal with in that way, especially when you're talking to an English audience. Like that's kind of where it starts. Well, you know,
yeah.
Like it's even like I know we were talking about this last time too. It's like because when you were reviewing my book review, my book reading list, it's like, well, there's no like psychoanalysis. Like my counter to that would be like, sure, but we also get a lot of Freud through osmosis and so on and so forth. And I think they explain,
but that's
it pretty well.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
you keep saying this and you've said it over and over, but it's actually very little about Freud. It's mostly about Lacan. The book's primarily a response to Lacan. Freud is in there.
It's a response to Lacan, but when it's talking about familialism and so on and so forth, it is primarily making reference to Freud up until that point, right? Because Lacan has an aborted escape from familialism.
No.
No? Did I say the thing wrong?
It's a complicated book.
Okay. It is a very complicated book.
It's a complicated book. And the nature of how familialism shifts, they're not necessarily saying that Freud is the one to listen to there. They're very much talking about the shift over time and how familialism operates and how reproduction moves away from being something that is socially determined to being something that is effectively socially meaningless.
Yeah, but I didn't say they were focusing on Freud. I'm just saying as an example, because they do talk about Freud.
They talk, well, Lacan talks about Freud as well.
Yeah.
But again, it's a particular lens. There's other lenses you can take on Freud. That's why they do very particular work as a thing. But it's again.
May you suggest 1 or 2 accessible books?
Accessible books.
I'm actually going to go completely out of left field, and I'm actually going to recommend Machiavelli's The Prince. I recommend the Oxford edition. Read supplementary materials. It is very, very much more complicated than you think, but super important to getting a lot of the people that you need to be able to get to understand Nietzsche even. So,
Spinoza Practical Philosophy, I think, is a fantastic, easy read that gets you very far for Spinoza and also gives you really good insight into Deleuze. It's very short and it's very conversational, except for the middle. For some reason, you put the glossary literally in the middle of the book, and it's really
weird because you feel like, am I supposed to just read through this? No, it's a glossary.
Yes, you are actually supposed to read through that.
Yep.
We went through this. We were doing a reading of it, and I couldn't it killed our reading because. But
here's the problem, though.
Here's the problem,
though. It's also a glossary. Here's the problem with reading a glossary.
It's like reading a fucking dictionary, literally. It's annoying.
These paragraphs don't build off each other. They may at times refer to each other. They don't build off of each other. No. One of the things that is important about, like, one of the reasons why reading books is important is because you develop, like, a memory of the process of reading through it. One of the problems with a glossary is that you don't have that same relation to it in that way.
Well, so it's written specifically for philosophy students who've already read Spinoza. And so it's this weird thing he's doing where he spends the first half of the book sort of recontextualizing Spinoza and telling his life story. It's like, actually, the biography he writes of Spinoza is like a masterwork.
Really good.
It's like it's amazing.
Yeah.
And then what he does is he then takes all of Spinoza's major concepts and ideas and things he worked with, and he redefines them through that lens of that history. Then the second half of the book after that, so it's like really the third, I should say, is actually him recontextualizing wholly. But again, if you read the beginning and skip all the way to the end, even if you've not read Spinoza, it's a phenomenal way in, really easy. And if you dig it, it gives you a lot of places to run, like Expressionism in Philosophy, which is his other book on Spinoza, which is a masterwork as well. So that'd be like one. And then the other for Deleuze, I recommend Empiricism and Subjectivity, because it's also a very easy read. And Hume is not someone you ever need to get perfect at, in my opinion. If you like Hume, run with it. That's great. But there's maybe no book that gives a better insight on how Deleuze sees us and the world and everything as there is in that book. It's where he comes from the rest of his life, I think.
I would almost like amend that to go like get into Spinoza, but get into Spinoza with that as a companion piece as well.
Yeah, I agree.
We went through the a Spinoza reader by Curley, which was really good because it has a lot of supplementary material that gives you like a really good cross section of his work that's curated to make him a lot more intelligible.
George III, Penguin Monarchs by Jeremy Blackgood.
Are you asking us or are you saying that?
I think he's pitching a book or plugging. I don't know any of this. That one I don't recognize at all.
I mean, monarch penguins are pretty cool because they're called emperor penguins.
That's cool. I mean, I don't. If I'm going to read anything about this time frame, Sonny, have you read Autumn of the Black Snake?
It's on my bookshelf, actually. I haven't managed to open it yet.
It would be a really, I think, a really fun stream if we were to go over parts
that?
of that after you give it a read. Because, I mean, ultimately, when we start talking about the history of things or how this country was founded, when we talk about Trump as an anomaly, and then you go back and you go, well, wait a second. I just want to take a second. Can we talk about like what George Washington did and why, and how George Washington used the army to literally do land speculation because his brothers were land speculators and they made a fortune off of stealing and land from murdered Indians directly. Like the wild world of George Washington and how much of a corrupt piece of shit he was. I mean, it is astonishing. And that kind of stuff is where you start having the conversation of like, hey, is this really just America? The answer is yes. That actually Biden in the last 40 years, even Reagan, that's actually been the stepping away, like since FDR and on. It's been the moving away from the founding of the country. Trump is very much like the founders, well, like George Washington specifically.
Guy unencumbered by any significant limits on his power over little people. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, he's a trip, man. He was Washington's a trip. Huge, awful person.
By the way, you know what I got a hold of recently? It's not arrived yet, but it's ordered.
What's
I
that?
found a $20 edition of the Anti-Oedipus by Minnesota Press. University of Minnesota Press. You can't find that anymore. They're always like $100.
So if you can ever find any of those, it's worth picking up because they tend to be.
They're more durable. The Penguin ones just fall apart.
The paper is excellent in them.
The paper actually in the Penguin one is actually pretty good. It's the cover. The ink just falls off. Mine's actually miraculously mostly intact, but like you can even see just from regular handling, like the corners are all white.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, by the way, anyone who like says like Philosophy Tube, I was reading this book really carefully, and they've got a Penguin edition that's in pristine condition. It's a lie because you can't keep them in pristine condition. They just can't. They're terrible.
Is Richard Stallman based or a freakish weirdo?
Who? He looks. I don't know. The new guy. Oh, GNU guy. I don't know.
I'm so fascinated. How does this chat pick things to yell at me about? I haven't thought about Stallman in forever. Stallman generally.
You're muted, Brooks.
No, I'm not. I fixed it.
Okay.
I know. He's a semi-idealist who doesn't understand how things operate in a larger scale economy. Is very generally wanting things to be nice, but also sort of, I don't know. He's done good things, so I don't want to like shit on him. But I don't agree with a lot of his tactics.
Okay. We before we wrap up, because we're getting to that point, I want to cover two things before we end.
Let's do it.
The first one is not the one I actually posted in chat recently, but I do want to end on that one. The first one before we do is Trump deported someone to Rwanda who is not from Rwanda.
Oh, I mean, I can't imagine that ending poorly. Rwanda has such a lovely storied history of treating outsiders and people who are. Are you kidding?
The U.S. government is reportedly preparing to deport immigrants to Rwanda who can't be sent back to their country of origin due to fears of prosecution, to the liberal haven of Rwanda.
The country, oh God, Rwanda's this is actually like, oh, I didn't mean to make the joke I did. This actually might be kind of nice, and this is kind of horrifying. Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, God. Sorry, I'm just having a crisis as I'm seeing this.
Mhm.
So with Bukkake and El Salvador, let's be very explicit. Musk traveled there multiple times, and then we had this arrangement secretly out of nowhere with millions of dollars coming from somewhere that Trump hasn't approved or seen the check for. We don't know where it's being paid or who's paying for it, but it's tens of millions of dollars for 200 some people. That is straight up to basically put them in a foreign prison. Rwanda apparently is, they will take these people in. They are accepting refugees on our behalf. So these are people who, oh my God, this is like the most depressing fucking thing
Yep.
So people come to America and they go, hey, I'm an Iraqi refugee. That's this person, Omar Abdul Sattar Amin. I can't go back to Iraq because reasons. They'll kill me.
Here's a question.
And
Are they
Rwanda said,
accepting...
we'll take them for you because we don't want them to be killed in Iraq.
Oh.
Rwanda, who does not have the resources we have by any stretch of any fucking imagination that's ever existed.
Oh.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm just fucking... This is my country, dude.
It's like... Here's the thing. Rwanda has issues. Rwanda has the kinds of issues that the United States, until very recently, has not had. And so my immediate concern here is like, okay, what is...
Is the French langue dying in Canada bad?
If it's the langue, I don't think so, but the language probably should survive. Is the French language dying in Canada? I thought it was like literally written into the...
You literally have to speak English and French to even be in government. Look, here's the thing. Okay, nice of them. I'm glad that people are not just being... I mean, people aren't just being sent to El Salvador. They're just being sent away. They're also just being sent to El Salvador. They're just being sent away for the most part. Does this actually mean that people who are being sent to El Salvador on spurious accusations will instead be sent to Rwanda? Does it mean that there is now a sanitization of the persecution of migrants and so on and so forth? Like, I don't know. I'm of many minds about this. The main one is negative because all this can be...
Is J.J. McCullough actually a conservative?
Yes. Very much so.
This just hurts so much, dude.
Yeah. Like, because the deportations are also bad anyways. And like, let's be clear, like it's Rwanda. It's not... like, yeah.
This is...
It's one of those countries. It's one of those countries where,
10.
like, it's one of those countries where, like, Human Rights Watch wants to enter and look at stuff, they get rebuffed. It's one of those things. So it's yeah.
Oh, good Lord. Let's
look at the let's look
how
at the
can you be
Doge nuclear
conservative
thing.
gay? Because homosexuality or any other minority status takes a second seat when it comes to money and positions of power. And if you've ever lived in San Francisco, which I did, feel free to wander through the Castro anytime and see how conservative the gayest area in town is. And it's all very wealthy people who really don't want things to change inside of their little tiny corner. And they do everything they can to increase police, to increase anti-drug, to increase anti-nudity, which there used to be like no nudity laws in San Francisco. Like they're trying to fuck it up because they just want their values to be higher for their property. That's all they give a shit about. People are very boring and not that exciting. Sorry, I can't look at this.
We have a
this
we have
thing
we have
fucks
this,
me up so much, dude.
There's this term, one of the good ones for a reason. That's what it refers to. You can absolutely be a member of a subjugated group and be completely enthusiastically in favor of your own repression.
A federal judge ruled. This is this guy's backstory. I'm just going to read it. We're going to make it all the way through, and then we'll comment because this horrifies me. A federal judge ruled in 2021 that the case against Amin was dubious, with unreliable witnesses and allegations that were simply not plausible, ordering his immediate release. But just after he was released, Immigration and Customs Enforcement under the Biden administration picked him up again and began deportation proceedings. Last year in May, Amin said in a statement that, quote, "I'm so grateful to the judge for listening to all the evidence. I thank God that in this country I had the right to defend myself and be found innocent. I love America. I want to enjoy living here with my wife and children the rest of my life. It saddens me that I still have to fight for my freedom again." Yet Amin was let down by the U.S. and is now the first person to be deported by the Trump administration to Rwanda on the basis of weak evidence to boot. Will he get any restitution or will he be stuck overseas like Abrego Garcia? He's fucked.
Yep. Maybe in 5 years. Maybe. Probably not.
Jesus Christ. Dude, this is fucking
Hey, you want to brighten your day a little bit?
I would love to. Do we have something to react to that's like at least interesting or
Yes.
good?
Doge employees gain accounts on classified networks holding nuclear secrets. Let's do that one.
Ooh, I like. Wait, what?
Look at your link I've just posted in live. So it's not just posted. It's a little scroll up a little bit.
That's fantastic. Wait,
It's got the big.
This may not make me happier. This doesn't make me happier, Sunday. This, not sure. 2 members of Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency were given accounts on classified networks that hold highly guarded details about America's nuclear weapons, 2 sources tell NPR. Luke Ferreter, a 23-year-old former SpaceX intern, and Adam Ramada, a Miami-based venture capitalist. What the fuck?
A Miami-based venture capitalist.
And a former SpaceX intern. These are the 2 members of Doge who got access to the nuclear secrets.
Have had accounts on the computer systems for at least 2 weeks, according to the sources who also have access to the networks. Prior to their work at Doge, neither Ferrator nor Ramada appear to have had experience with either nuclear weapons or handling classified information. We know this based on how they've handled classified information and the fact that we've had like multiple reports now of, well, we had obviously that recent scandal, but they are just going into places, downloading a massive amount of shit, and then deleting the evidence that they did so. Because they're obviously, I think it's pretty obvious at this point that people in Doge are just selling intelligence.
To Russia, but yes, to maybe anyone.
Well,
really.
I mean, just to Russia if you're lucky. God knows to who else.
What the fuck, dude? Like, a spokesperson for the Department of Energy initially denied I know someone who used to work at the Department of Energy until they got fired by Doge like 2 weeks ago. This reporting is false. No Doge personnel have access to these NNSA systems.
They probably weren't doing anything important.
No, Department of Energy doesn't do a lot that's important at all.
This is literally like it. You've seen The Death of Stalin, right?
Oh yes, adore that film.
I want him to do a movie about Doge so badly. Can you imagine? That would be so good. It would almost make it worth it.
How about this? This happened just now. Donald Trump is demanding investigations into negative approval ratings polls.
Okay, that makes me happy.
Oh, come on, play.
I love that shot of him too.
Come on, play it. Play it down. No one wants
That's
your
just
stupid fucking. You
music.
suck. Yeah, I know.
Although we're demonetized now. Well done, chat. We just got demonetized. Brooks got us demonetized again. If you appreciate what we do, and you want to help us not stream out of a cardboard box, please consider donating memberships and/or super chats and/or.
Responding to polls, Trump wrote on Truth
What else
Social
we
on
got?
Monday, "They are negative criminals who apologize to their subscribers and readers after I win elections big, much bigger than their polls showed I would win, lose a lot of credibility, then go on cheating and lying for the next cycle, only worse."
No, this isn't Trump. This is whoever wrote this thing for Newsweek. Like, learn English. You're a journalist.
No, that's the quote from Truth Social. That is Trump.
Well, never mind then. Loose a lot of credibility. Okay, fair enough. I stand corrected.
I know. It's just
loose a lot of credibility.
Washington Post showed that Trump's approval rating dropped to the lowest level of any president in the 80 years at this point in this presidency. Only 31% of respondents approve of Trump's handling of the deportation of Kilmore Garcia. Hey, thank you, Rubber Room Rat, for the 10 gifted subs.
Thank you very much.
If there is a silver lining, only 31% I know is way higher than I want it to be, given that we're talking about, the fundamental right to due process that is part of the civics lessons that everyone is supposed to be taught. But still, it's almost 70% don't agree with it. That's a fucking big deal for me.
We're
That's
100.
Nice to see.
It's 100 days in. That's it. Literally nothing has happened except he's fucked stuff up. Nothing has happened except a long string of just fucking stuff up.
Great pollster John
Nothing.
McLaughlin, one of the most highly respected in the industry, has just stated that the failing New York Times poll, the ABC Washington Post poll about a person named Donald J. Trump, are fake polls from fake news organizations. They suffer from Trump derangement syndrome. There's nothing about anyone or anything can do about it. They are sick. Almost only write negative stories about me, no matter how well I'm doing. 99% 9 at the border, best number ever, and are truly the enemy of the people. I wish them well, but will continue to fight to make America great again. He's a
grandmother on Facebook. That's what he is.
He is. It's a trip because when you start talking about like these things that are happening and how they're going, there's a joke right now. I don't know if you've been following because J.D. Vance now on his second part of his world tour, the Pope, he killed the Pope for his first stop. And then his second stop was where the fucking terror attack in India happened. He's like 200 miles from it or some shit. But like it happened at the same time. And it's
experimental season 3 of Good Omens.
I mean, it feels like it, doesn't it? Because it's just over and over and over. These things are happening around these people, around all this shit. And it's like, what the fuck is happening? It's fucking crazy. And everything they're doing at every step, like we can't even cover all of the stuff because again, the insanity of, for example, the Narcan program that was put in, Narcan is a thing that helps people who fucking, get heroin, die, overdose. Narcan saves a fuck ton of lives. And it's something that they sort of put out in everything.
Only way to save people from fentanyl overdose.
It is. And the federal distribution of Narcan everywhere, which is something that Health and Human Services was in charge of, he's ending it. He's just saying, fuck it, we're done.
Yep.
We're not going to do training on it. We're not going to send the shit anymore. Yep. It stopped a quarter of all overdose deaths.
Money.
Yeah, do you have the Beatles' White Album? Never mind, just get me a glass of hot fat. And bring me the head of Alfredo Garcia while you're out there.
No. I mean, that's no. That's okay.
It's, I don't know. At a certain point, like this administration's entire platform is just kill people. Like there's nothing else going on. It's just kill people.
It is literally just do whatever it takes and just stop. Why would this be a thing you would stop? Like the whole point of the epidemic that's happening, like it's how?
Because they don't want there to be less drugs in the country. They want people who use drugs to die. There's a difference. You want less drugs in the country. You want to increase education. You want to decrease poverty, and so on and so forth. You want to give people like hope in a life that doesn't have to be augmented with substances so that they can survive keeping their eyes open during the day. If you just hate drug users, then you will take things that will exacerbate that because you take pleasure in their deaths. That's what this is. They don't want to save drug users' lives. They don't want to save people from abuse. They consider people who are addicted to drugs, despite the fact that they're all on cocaine, they consider those people to be subhuman. So that's it. It's literally just vote me in, and I will kill as many of you as possible. And because secretly, a solid third of you are as ugly as I am, you will applaud me for it.
And it's he's at the stage, and this is again, we're 100 days in, and we've reached the point where all of the policies are already showing signs of failure. We're already seeing hardship and brutality at ports and grocery stores and jobs. 250,000 people just in March and just in the government lost their jobs. That doesn't count all the other jobs that have had layoffs over the last 3-4 months, all of that shit. And his approval ratings are incredibly low. He's being beset on all sides. Today, the Supreme Court, they were at the Carolyn Leavitt, the bitch who runs his PR, was asked, curious, are you going to arrest the Supreme Court judges when they make a big deal out of this? She refused to rule out arresting the Supreme Court justices. Like, we're just there. Yep. Saying that the poll numbers are lies. Like, it's fucking crazy.
My soft tendential prediction is that Trump is going to be, if not the straw that breaks the camel's back, he's going to start the process that breaks up the Union and turns the United States into an archipelago of little statelets. That's what I think is going to end up happening, because you're at a point now where it's like states are not going to these, and it's not like Canadian provinces. These places are uniquely situated politically to manage their own affairs. They're states. You're at a point now where the federal government is a burden. It's an incompetent, parasitic thing that exists to just fuck over anyone's capacity for long-term planning or administration. That's going to be the upshot, and maybe that's even a part of the logic, because these morons are taking their cues from Mencius Moldbug. But that's what's going to happen. Yeah, even James said J.D. Vance is openly influenced by Curtis Yarvin. Here's the thing, though. Curtis Yarvin is very stupid. And again, Curtis Yarvin is a loser. Curtis Yarvin is someone who can only think in terms of we're the victims because we're not in charge. Therefore, the only thing he can think about is how to fuck with people who are in charge. He has no concept of how to actually manage anything. None of these people know how to do anything. They've got nothing but resentment. There's literally nothing else there.
Dude, look at this shit. The Trump, they lined the White House lawn with these little posters of criminal immigrants and their crimes.
Your approval rating is dropping, Donald, with people who I remember back when Trump won in his first election, and it was like, wow, all Clinton had to do was nothing, and she couldn't even do that.
She couldn't even handle that.
Trump at this stage has to do literally nothing. Sunday Heidigan's Moldbug newsletter. I can't unsubscribe. I've got Richard Hanania's freaking newsletter. I've got Moldbug. I can't unsubscribe. They just keep going to my email address. I don't know what to do. I've blocked them.
I
I've
love
canceled them. They keep showing up. It's like a demon. But all he has to do to maintain a normal level of approval with his base is nothing. He has to just show up, talk like he does, and then do nothing. And people will make excuses for him. Why isn't he getting it done? He's working on it, okay? It's a previous administration fucked everything up. Okay, that's it. Nothing.
Oh, God.
Brooks, I want to go outside.
Can we watch one last thing I thought was interesting and then we go?
Fine.
It's the last thing. I didn't really have this on there, but
The signs with immigrant faces reminds me of Willie Horton.
It is exactly Willie Horton.
Can you explain that reference to me?
In the United States, we have a long history of making black men evil because, color of skin and all. And Michael Dukakis was governor at one point of a state that did, back in the 80s and before, it was very normal, to do what was called like a furlough, where violent criminals even, murder convicts, people in prison could go out. Like they could earn the ability to leave prison for a while and come back. And Willie Horton, there's a lot of disputes over everything, but he was involved in an armed robbery that killed someone while he was on one of these furloughs. And the Bush White House, the upcoming Bush White House, his main campaign guy, who happens to be the guy who did the Southern strategy. And I went over this on my stream. It's one of the worst fucking lines ever. It's the one where he says, we can't say inward, 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 inward anymore. So we say things like forced busing and taxation and states' rights. That same guy was running this campaign for Bush and went, hey, let's tell the world. And they ran this ad. And it won't get us demonetized because it is, very simple, very basic. But Willie Horton ad is worth 2 seconds so you can see it. If you've never seen it as a thing, it's crazy. Bush and Dukakis on crime. Again, the way that these things worked furlough was normal. Like it was a normal thing at the time. So just enjoy exactly how this is done.
Bush and Dukakis on crime. Bush supports the death penalty for first-degree murderers. Dukakis not only opposes the death penalty, he allowed first-degree murderers to have weekend passes from prison. One was Willie Horton, who murdered a boy in a robbery, stabbing him 19 times. Despite a life sentence, Horton received 10 weekend passes from prison. Horton fled, kidnapped a young couple, stabbing the man and repeatedly raping his girlfriend. Weekend prison passes. Dukakis on crime.
It's literally what cost Dukakis the election. There's not even a question in anyone's mind. It's what did it. And so when he says it's the Horton thing, it's this right here. This is the famous moment because this is the most evil black you can kind of be in a photo for white people. Like it's beard and hair and dark. We can't really see features and it's a clearly criminal photo. Like it's all the shit. It's a famous image in American politics. And so when he says this looks like a Willie Horton, it fucking reminds me of Willie Horton too. Parading people who are evil to justify things. And again, Dukakis didn't, there was never a moment on Dukakis's desk where he went, oh yeah, Willie, why don't you go out? The legislature of his state this was a thing they did for decades. This wasn't new shit. He didn't allow this.
Yep.
He didn't stop laws he had no control over. Boy, I wonder how we got in the position we're in.
No educational funding?
The belief that a single person should be able to stop the justifiably legislated rules made by a legislator of any state or country. Because
Which
all we
happens
want
if
is
you
one
have
person.
No civics classes because of no educational funding. Nobody knows how their fucking country
works. It does
works.
seem to be the case.
In tonight's Last Minute, a note on Bill Owens, who until this past week was executive producer of 60 Minutes.
This is actually kind of I was surprised to see this.
He was our boss. Bill was with CBS News nearly 40 years, 26 years at 60 Minutes. He covered the world, covered combat, the White House. His was a quest to open minds, not close them. If you've ever worked hard for a boss because you admired him, then you understand what we've enjoyed here. Bill resigned Tuesday. It was hard on him and hard on us, but he did it for us and you. Stories we pursued for 57 years are often controversial. Lately, the Israel-Gaza war and the Trump administration. Bill made sure they were accurate and fair. He was tough that way. But our parent company, Paramount, is trying to complete a merger. The Trump administration must approve it. Paramount began to supervise our content in new ways. None of our stories has been blocked, but Bill felt he lost the independence that honest journalism requires. No one here is happy about it, but in resigning, Bill proved one thing. He was the right person to lead 60 Minutes all along. I'm Scott Pelley. We'll be...
That's an amazing thing to see them actually sign off as,
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah, that's actually really
Like, that's
cool.
just the balls on all of these people. This, I think, hit me funny because you don't see this. And for them to call out Paramount and say they are literally
crazy.
currying favor with Trump
I love
and
this so
limiting
much.
and controlling them. And that's 60 Minutes saying so. It earns a fuck ton of points from me.
That's an Endor level scene right there.
We're going to see, I think, how many people are still at 60 Minutes after this. These are the reporters and the people on 60 Minutes is fascinating. I disclosed
that was genuinely cinema is what that was.
It was, and it was said with that extreme gravitas that this dude nails.
Yeah.
And it's like,
that's why I'm saying this is literally like something you'd see in like I can't remember the writer's name, but like Chernobyl or Dune or whatever. Like that's the thing that he would do. And it's
Owens,
like,
who had worked
real.
at CBS News for
Awesome.
decades, served as executive producer for its news magazine since 2019, announced his resignation from the program on April 22nd, claiming that upper company ranks were interfering in editorial processes. Bill resigned Tuesday. It was hard on him, hard on us. We just watched the whole thing. When announcing his resignation last week, Owens said that it had, quote, become clear that I would not be allowed to run the show as I have always run it, to make independent decisions based on what was right for 60 Minutes, right for the audience, he said. Another one of 60 Minutes' longest-serving correspondents, Leslie Stahl, also told Variety in an interview last week that she had been made aware of interference in our news process and calling into question our judgment. That is not the way that companies that own news organizations should be acting, Stahl, who has worked on 60 Minutes for 35 seasons, continued. Representatives at Paramount did not immediately respond to the Daily Beast request for comment. 60 Minutes is currently at the epicenter of a highly publicized defamation battle with President Trump regarding an October 2024 interview with Kamala Harris. At the time, Harris sat down with Face the Nation, another CBS News program, for an interview which aired on Sunday. Trump alleges that when sections of Harris' interview aired the next day on 60 Minutes, her answer to a question about Israel was edited differently to what was broadcast on Sunday to make her look better. He subsequently filed a $10 billion defamation lawsuit and amended it to $20 billion in February. They've denied the claim. And Paramount is trying to merge with Skydance Entertainment, Larry Ellison's kids' movie and interactive production company, Skydance. Yeah. Larry Ellison, founder of Oracle. Remember, we only have like 9 people in the world that matter. And his kids are that. If Paramount doesn't get to, Paramount might be in trouble because streaming services and content are the future, and Skydance owns an excessively large amount of content that they need access to. So they need this merger to happen for their stock prices, both of them, and to make all these things happen, to make everyone rich. And Trump, who's suing them for $20 billion, also has the power to stop the merger. Because we live in a kleptocracy in every single way. And it's barefaced.
It is nice that it's obvious, though, isn't it?
It is good.
You don't have to dig. It's just right there. It's never been
lead.
just right there like
The
that.
executive producer of CBS News 60 Minutes, Bill Owens, resigned today. Now, normally that would...
This is, again, we're seeing breaks that we haven't seen before.
Oh.
And again, the liberal news class, full disclosure, I was on 60 Minutes. I worked with them. I got to know producers on it for obvious things. If you don't know me, it's the way it goes. But they're really kind. They're very professional, but they are absolutely that mainstream liberal audience. Like, I'm not going to say otherwise, but they do care about what they do. They really care about the effort. This type of thing means that they were pushed further than they've ever been pushed. This doesn't happen. And other reporters are furious because they see this as being the sort of canary in the coal mine for the rest of them. And we're going to see a lot of pushback I think we wouldn't otherwise. I'm actually really fascinated by it.
Probably not be news that we would bring you, except the circumstances rise to the level of, well, alarm. Owen said in a letter to his staff that, quote, over the past months, it has become clear that I would not be allowed to run the show as I have always run it, to make independent decisions based on what was right for 60 Minutes, right for the audience, unquote. And the context here is key, because President Trump has been suing CBS News and its parent company, Paramount Global, for $20 billion for what the president calls, quote, unlawful and illegal behavior, unquote, though his accusations, according to legal experts, do not withstand scrutiny. This is what happened. Last fall, 60 Minutes interviewed Vice President Harris. President Trump declined the show's offer to sit down with them for an interview. During the Harris interview, 60 Minutes correspondent Bill Whitaker asked the then sitting vice president why Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was not apparently listening to the Biden administration. Now, a preview of her answer ran in a preview clip on CBS's Face the Nation on Sunday morning.
The work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
The next day, however, 60 Minutes ran this answer when it ran the actual edited interview.
We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
Now, CBS News explained the discrepancy, saying that they merely ran two different parts from the same longer answer, and under pressure they revealed their transcript, and that is indeed what they did, as frankly happens all the time, including with President Trump's taped interviews. For instance, just for instance, in June of 2024, this ran on Fox.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
What a great example for him to choose. And have you seen this? This is like one of the best. This is amazing for him to choose this. Fuck yes, Tapper. This is great.
Definitive, firm, yes, I would. But, as Semaphore noted at the time, the full unedited version featured Trump sounding far less definitive.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world.
The president alleges that editing the 60 Minutes interview and running two different answers to the same question helped Vice President Harris and amounted to electoral fraud. In reality, this is just editorial discretion. Editors do it all the time with recorded interviews,
including a lot of fake stuff in the Epstein files
with taped interviews and Donald Trump.
Don't want to take those
by
too
Fox,
seriously.
All the time. And legal
By the way,
experts, left, right, and center say
who is a lot on Epstein's plane. A lot of it, actually. A lot of it. He's on a lot of it. Where are the Epstein files, by the way? All that stuff that's really super important that we were always going to declassify? Huh. I don't know. Where'd it go?
That this lawsuit in a court would certainly fail spectacularly. But Paramount Global, which owns CBS News, is currently trying to merge with Skydance Media. And in order to do so, they need the approval of the Trump administration, specifically the FCC.
One moment, pause. Tighten
and
that
under
paywall. Can you get me a non-paywalled version, please? I don't know what this is.
It's another. I think it's fine to mention it. There's another set of introductions of resolutions to impeach Trump being passed through Congress, but again, it doesn't.
I just can't open. I can't open this document, so I don't know what it is. Like it literally is just paywall to me. It doesn't even give me a preview.
Oh, it's fine for me.
Detroit Free Press is very not free.
It looks like this. We'll run through it. It's another impeachment set of article. Like it's just going to be fine. Sri Thanedor followed up on his call for impeaching President Trump by introducing a resolution calling for the process for trying him. It's
right. Yeah.
I think it's the third time in like the last 3 months that it's happened. So
I'm kind of surprised it's only the third time, honestly.
Fair.
The FCC's brand new Trump supporting commissioner, Brendan Carr, it has been suggested that Trump's news distortion allegations against 60 Minutes will be considered by the FCC before.
The FCC said literally, oh, I think we need to look at that because Trump said that you edited that interview. Because again, they don't care about them editing interviews. What he wants is them to, for example, like the other lawsuit that they finished where I think it was Disney donated like $10 or $15 million to the Trump library. Oh, they happened to settle just fine then. Oops. That's all they want is they're just threatening and using it as a bully pulpit to just get money out of people.
Yep.
Before any merger is approved. Now, Sherry Redstone is the majority owner of Paramount, and she stands to make a fortune if this multi-billion-dollar deal, this merger goes through. And it seems as if Sherry Redstone is likely to bend the knee to Trump and settle this allegedly frivolous lawsuit. Now, Bill Owens, until today the head of 60 Minutes, rightly believes that 60 Minutes has nothing to apologize for. And that's what's going on. That's the context. One 60 Minutes source tells me, quote,
"This is terrifying."
When it should be, just to note, she never really did anything. Her family owns non-controlling shares. She's a non-executive chairwoman. So she's actually like majority shareholder through her family. So enjoy that.
Did we cover the other Pete Hegseth signal group? I can't.
We
recall.
did.
I thought we did. Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, she's a horrifying piece of shit. The Redstones are awful people. Like genuinely awful and incredibly wealthy across the board. And this is just wild as like, again, the money they made, how they made it. There's just a whole bunch of shit where it's like, fucking wow.
We're going to do Cult of the Factious Gods on Friday?
I'd be down for that.
Let's do that.
I'd be down for that. There was a movie about, what was it? TV series actually about her father. If you remember, it's more of a trope, but it's like, they ended up even doing a bit about it, I think, on 30 Rock, where the head of the network, the 30 Rock was on NBC, like was in a coma and mentally incompetent. And so everyone else was in charge. That was her dad. That was true. That's what happened. Her dad was like the guy who was executive chairman of CBS and was completely fucked up. And like they kept in the position and wheeled him in. If you saw, God damn it. What's the TV series about the family who owns like Fox News?
Oh shit.
Starts with an S. Fucking Christ.
It's just called the Murdochs?
Succession.
No, the Murdochs is the Murdochs.
No, I'm talking about the fake family. So in Succession, there's one of the major owners of the board is this woman who is like wheeling her father in and out, and he's not really voting. It's like a running joke in the show.
I didn't even know that it existed. That's weird.
It's a running joke in the show of like oh no, my father says this, and this, but he's like drooling and not even there. That's her. She's that. She is that woman. That's who they're talking about. So that's how this person doesn't care about anything politically, is literally her whole family like abused her father into the ground to maintain power and then put herself in power. It's fucking wild.
That's got Brian Cox in it.
Oh no, Succession's phenomenal all the way through. It's one of the best television series of that style. It's all of this. It's actually good beginning to end. Billions, first 2 seasons are excellent, drops off a cliff. Succession only somehow gets stronger, and they fucking nail the ending, in my opinion. I think they fucking nailed it. Just maybe my opinion, but yeah, it's a thing.
The lawsuit was baseless. He wouldn't apologize, meaning Bill. Bill Owens wouldn't bend. He fought for the broadcast and for independent journalism, and that cost him his job. It's shameful, unquote. A second 60 Minutes source tells me, quote, Bill has widespread support at 60. He's dedicated his life to CBS and the broadcast, and this was his last act of dedication to it. It's like a guy who has been battling for months against an attack, unable to defend the broadcast from inappropriate corporate influence. He pulls the pin from his last grenade. He sacrificed himself, hoping it might make our corporate overlords wake up and realize they risk destroying what makes 60 Minutes great.
They don't give a shit.
It seems clear now, in a quest to sell the company, Sherry Redstone and others will bow to presidential pressure. 60 Minutes is one of the crown jewels of American broadcast journalism, and they have no problem crushing it in their race to make a deal and make themselves richer, unquote. Yep. Sherry Redstone had no comment when we reached out.
Shocked.
President Trump, of course, has been trying to kneecap anyone providing oversight over his administration. He literally started his administration by firing a whole bunch of inspectors general. He is currently ignoring judges and courts. He and his MAGA forces intimidate the legislative branch from uttering even a peep of criticism. They're going after law firms. They're going after universities. And this war against the Fourth Estate journalists is of this piece. Owens is not without his critics, of course, but this is not about one man or even about one show. It's about an attempt to be rid of criticism. The Pentagon has taken the offices of CNN and NBC and the New York Times and Politico and reassigned them to outlets that provide more flattering coverage, like
Tim Pool. I don't know if you saw Tim Pool asking a question at the White House. He's in the White House press pool. Tim Pool is in the press pool.
Dressed in just the most disrespectful manner, not even a suit.
And he didn't even say thank you.
Didn't even say thank you.
Like Breitbart. The White House is doing the same with wire services.
I'm picturing that. Did you ever see that old movie Pete's Dragon?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it just shows up at the White House. You promised me my hair. It's just.
Was Tim wearing it? One sec. We'll finish this. I'll find the.
I think he was wearing his beanie.
He was wearing his beanie. It was fucking hilarious.
War against the Associated Press and bringing in folks like this one from last Friday.
Photos have emerged of Senator Van Hollen sipping what appears to be margaritas.
Fucking, I still am stunned that this worked as well as it did inside of their stupid thing where the guy they put him in El Salvador, they sit him down, and very quickly they put two margaritas that clearly never had anything drank out of them, and they have no photos of them drinking from them.
Yeah.
But just having on the table is all it took. And I asked, I have people in my life who are sadly touched, a little slow. Why wouldn't they have photos of them drinking it? Like, why would they not be able to take photos of them drinking it if they drank from it? And he said because the cameras probably weren't there.
No,
I want to understand how that works.
It's like in Back to the Future 3. They just like holding it. The moment they drink it, they just collapse on the ground. They've never drunk anything in their lives before. They're all just virginal. They're just like, yeah. What was that?
That was I'm fine. It's just the first one that popped up to just show our friend Tim Pool at the White House in his beanie and hoodie. But it's like his nice hoodie. He's got like the fucking, the little edge flaps like a sport coat would have. It's like his nice hoodie, I think.
Move that has ignited discussion.
This AI.
It's a lapel. It's a lapel.
Terrorist.
It's not even showing video. The number of AI channels is so horrifying. But
I love how he just looks like there's a kid there.
It does. He looks like a little child.
Like a little kid from South Park.
And like, hey, we have our Make-A-Wish Foundation reporters here. Hey, do you want to ask a question of the president's press secretary?
You couldn't put a dress shirt on? That was too uncomfortable for you?
It looks like he's on his knees. It's such a weird photo. He's such a fucking unlikable person. God.
with Abrego Garcia down in El Salvador.
The fact of
Democrats.
Tim Pool's success should be just the quintessential answer to anyone who's still under the delusion, or was ever under the delusion, that America is a meritocracy. Dear God, what an embarrassment as a specimen.
He is. He is.
Democrats to fly down to El Salvador to meet with this illegal alien who's an accused wife beater.
I like this guy. See, now this is the kind of a reporter we like. There aren't
A wife
enough
beater,
of
you
them.
say? That's one of my people.
That person, of course, that was asking that question was asking about a lie. Senator Chris Van Hollen says that those margaritas were never touched. They were set up on the table.
Again, if they were drank, they would have had photos of them drinking it. They have video of the entire thing. It's such an insane, weird thing that you have to genuinely have no critical thought skills whatsoever to swallow that tripe. It's amazing.
By somebody working for the president of El Salvador to make a joke of this senators' meeting. Those margarita glasses were propaganda, and that's what that person asked about. And of course,
also, if I were the hotel, I'd be like, couldn't you at least have told us to make like pretty ones? Like, what the fuck kind of margaritas are those? They're
that's
like
the kind of glasses.
It's like water. It's like water. That's not a margarita. Like what? How is it a margarita? This is the things I don't understand about this lie. Like, it's not a margarita. Like, I don't understand how it's a margarita. I bartended. My brain has been working on this because one, okay, the cherry on the side. What? El Salvador? Don't do that. Why would you do that? Two, the rim is fine, but like it's clear. The entire drink is clear in a tall glass that's like a wine glass. There's nothing margarita about this. All I can think genuinely is that they only had water. They actually wouldn't give him booze. And so they gave him cold water and then they added the rimming to the glass. It's a cherry. That's a cherry. That's a maraschino cherry with a stem. You don't do that on a margarita. That's not a thing. It's a margatini.
Excuse me. That's a margatini, sir. Get it right.
It's nothing about this is margarita. And you're talking about like Central America. They do their booze. They know their booze. Like they know, and they know this specifically. It's so confusing to me. Like, well, I would love to do a deep dive with anyone who believes this, and like anyone who was there. I wish I could have had documented the story of that margarita and how it came to be and the thought process behind it and who like running around did it and when they put it in and they went, oh, we can't have it because like what use first off, proper margarita. You're not going to have it clear. It's going to be colored in some way. Are you not adding curacao to this shit? What flavors are you putting in there? What's the secondary booze? Are you using, is it pure clear tequila? Like a nice silver? Like what the fuck are you doing? And it's not refracting like booze, by the way. It's not refracting like booze. It's steady. So there's some weird shit there. All confusing to me. I don't even, it's like the hotel wasn't open. Like this is probably what it is. The hotel bar wasn't open and some guy just went behind there and they grabbed 2 wine glasses and he just went, okay, well, wet it a little bit, put it in some salt. And then what do you have? Oh, well, they have cherries here for Shirley Temples. Okay, put those on top. Fill it with water. Out we go. I don't.
It's just cucumber water.
Look, on behalf of former drinkers and current drinkers and professional drinkers, how has no one said that's not a margarita?
I don't know.
It's not even, are they afraid of being called like racist? Like they're like, maybe that's how El Salvador does their margaritas. I don't want to correct El Salvador and margaritas. It's like, no. Proper margaritas, not the setup. That's not how it goes. I know you're not a boozer, Sunday, but some of us used to drink.
I actually drink very sparingly. I just make a point of only drinking on stream because I hate it here.
Yeah, but you drink beers.
Not all the time. I also drink wine.
Have you ever had a good, like, helada?
I don't actually like Mexican food all that much, but actually, it's not true. Mexican food can be very good, just not cheap Mexican food. Fast Mexican food in Canada is terrible. Mexican food is really good.
Margaritas are very, very simple drinks. Good drinks, by the way, with the right tequila.
I like the only mixers that I like, because a lot of them are just too sweet or just weird.
A margarita would be perfect.
Mojitos are really good.
I mean, margaritas are kindred spirits, I would say, to the mojito. Slightly different play, it's different direction, but it plays the same. It's lime juice, triple sec tequila. Very, very basic. You want to get a good tequila if you can, by the way. It actually matters in a margarita. But like, that's it. Maybe you add simple syrup if you don't like the edge for it, but there are some people like Margaritaville kind of drinkers.
I thought margaritas were like a lot sweeter.
I mean, again, America and Western sort of thing, they're generally not supposed to be like crazy sweet. They're intended to be like a fucking beast of a drink. But it's again, the triple sec is very sweet, but it's not meant to be like sugary. We add a lot of like a lot of simple syrup. Like if you go to like Outback Steakhouse and you get a margarita, or you go to Applebee's, it's going to be like triple sec, and then they'll like carefully measure the half ounce of fucking tequila. Like it's going to be that kind of thing. But like a proper margarita, it's not even served in that kind of glass. It's served in like the really cool glass that is like thinner bottom and then goes really wide. It's not really like martini drink is the like one that looks like an upside down lampshade, right? This one has like a little bubble on the bottom. And so you end up with like, it's just so frustrating. There's nothing about that screams margarita to me at all. I don't know, man. We live in a country of alcoholics. And again, Trumpers are drinkers.
You live in a country of cocaine addicts and pedophiles. Like, I'm sorry.
No. We
look, he's got a marker. Let's assume he did. So, and really, like,
I mean, proper drinks. U.S. does pretty well, I think, in terms of like how we stack up. We do our booze, but again, no one here for some reason went, that's not a margarita. It's a fucking water glass with salt on it. It's so confusing to me.
Maybe that's a regional thing, Brooks. Did you think about that? That's how margaritas are made.
Not.
There. It's
no,
water glass.
You would, at minimum, there's lime, and triple sec, I would say, is a general guarantee in a margarita, but you can play around with that. There's ways you can fuck around with it, but the lime got to be in there. There was no coloration at all.
Yeah,
that was straight up water.
It's a Trump margarita. It's just table salt and Everclear. And a cherry.
I could see that. But again, even that, the glass doesn't even look right when it comes, like the refraction of like a nice añejo or a blanco doesn't look like that when light's going through it. There's a different way, like it has a different shimmer to it. I don't know. Like, this whole thing bothers me, man. It's not even like an interesting lie. Like, I personally think they should have brought out tiki glasses, because that's how you fuck everyone up.
No,
you bring out like a good, coconut. Like a zombie.
No, a coconut. Just a coconut. Just fill a coconut with it.
No, the zombie. The tequila glass with like multiple umbrellas, and then you put a lei on him and a hat, and then like take a photo of that and just keep doing it. Put like hot girls behind them and just make it insane. If you're going to take a photo, why is this your limit?
Brooks talking about margaritas the same way Sunday talks about book spines and covers.
Brooks used to be a professional drinker. I don't do that anymore. It's been years. I used to be a professional drinker. And I don't say that like as a way to brag. I don't. My brother and I got invited to a Guinness Believers event because we drank so much Guinness and knew the rep that we got invited to this event where they were having like, oh, come learn about Guinness and all of that. And they were mostly, it was supposed to be for like bartenders.
Why is it so flat? Why is it always so flat?
We got kicked out for drinking other people's Guinnesses because we finished about 13 in like 4 hours, which is a lot of Guinness, by the way. And each table was only allotted so many in the center of it. And we were just taking from other tables. So they threw us out. It's a different world, man. And I don't do it anymore. It's been years, but I used to, when you grow up in Denver, so Denver specifically, and you drink a lot, which everyone kind of did in high school, my era. I don't know how true it was elsewhere, but it's like pot and booze. Heroin wasn't a thing really yet. That was like another 10 years. Ecstasy was just getting rolling around, but it was booze and that. And when you drink at a mile high, which is what Denver is, Mile High City, booze hits you way harder than everywhere else. And so...
Is Corey Marler the next Nick Fuentes?
Probably not. He's probably not. Because
No.
Nick Fuentes is Nick Fuentes. But when you drink at sea level, you can drink a lot more. When you drink up high, it fucks you up a lot faster. And so it's a little bit like when batters or athletes train at high elevation, so that way they can go further. It's the same kind of thing. And so when my brother and I, when we both moved to California, like we used to go, there was this place called Shooters in Denver where they had 50-cent Eucalypts for the entire thing. So like you can just imagine wild drinking.
Oh God.
What?
I'm offended at that question. Is Corey Mailer the next Nick Fuentes?
I don't even know who that is.
Corey Mailer is like if Andrew Wilson was you, Brooks.
Is he?
I'll show you a picture. This is Corey Mailer.
Oh, you sent it.
Tell me I'm wrong. The beard is almost exact. A little wider.
I mean, no. I mean, does this guy, is he a closeted homosexual too? Is that the commonality between him and Fuentes?
Oh, I thought you were going to say, is that the commonality between him and you? I was like, you're not closeted. I'm
not either, but sure.
I know.
I don't know who these people are. And I'm talking about booze. Thank you.
That's fair. Guy in the middle is cool. That's a cool look. Kind of looks like a vampire.
It is a good look. It's like
vampire.
It's like Chandler from Friends, but on heroin. So Chandler from Friends. I don't know. I lost my train of thought. I was talking about booze and it made me lose everything.
In answer to your question, no, he's not nearly charismatic enough.
Probably not. He's probably fine. I don't know who the fuck he is.
He's terrible. He's a terrible, terrible human being.
They're all terrible people. I don't fucking. What do you want me to do? Like
nothing. Just want you to stop.
I like the.
What is it? What is it? What is a tequila zombie? What is that?
A tequila zombie? No. A zombie is a proper brutal drink. Like if you go to I mean, any good rum bar is going to have like a proper zombie. It's a lot of sort of complicated shit that goes with it. It's a lot of fruit juices, multiple rums go into it as a thing, as well as extra sort of liqueurs. So it's one of the like old school, I'm going to have that because I only want to have one drink tonight. Like Long Island iced teas, you're not meant to have like 6. It's a drink that exists so you buy one drink, basically.
Do you agree with FD it's racist to make fun of Hotep?
No, it's actually mandatory.
No, it's hilarious. Hotep's funny shit. Hotep's funny. That shit's funny.
Did he
How would it
say
be
that?
Racist? Did he? He didn't say that. So that would be That's a good way to make a joke about FD. I can't imagine he would say something that silly.
Have you seen his Attack on Titan takes?
Yes, I have. But even that is like, it's racist to make fun of.
He made a whole video. Oh no, is it recent?
Oh no. No, I don't watch things.
Oh my god.
Proper zombies end up having a fuck ton of rum, but rum is great. I'm not a clear liquor guy for the most part myself. I like the dark stuff. Give me a good rum. Nice, proper, like I have a Puerto Rican rum I adore. Oh God. Pirate's life for me as far as I'm concerned with that shit. But it ends up with like multiple types of that. So you have a couple different dark liqueurs, and then you end up with grapefruit juice, lime juice, and then there's like a weird sort of mix of other things. There's bitters and other things. The original place that was out in Hollywood. It was kind of invented there, and it's kind of like tiki bar mentality. If you haven't been to a good tiki bar, let me know. We'll go. There's San Francisco, where I lived there for long enough time, had multiple phenomenal tiki bars. One of them, Smuggler's Cove, we had the Monkey Island release party almost at it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was fantastic. We ended up having it at a different tiki bar because we needed more room. But Smuggler's Cove is phenomenal. If you're ever in San Francisco, if it's still open, I think it is. Amazing place. Amazing place.
I'm waiting until the travel warnings go down, but I'd be down.
No, I mean, you're a foreigner. It's fair. I wouldn't blame you.
I probably wouldn't go to El Salvador, but I may be held with minor paperwork issues in a cell for 2 weeks, so it wouldn't be fun. I'd have a lot to talk about, though.
It is
great for the channel. It'd be great for the channel if that happened. Maybe
it would be. It would be its own thing, that's for sure.
Great for my weight loss goals.
So look here, we'll do this real quick. 1 sec, because if you haven't been, I have to brag about my favorite. I have a list of tiki bars in San Francisco. That's how fucking cool that area is. So this is the Tonga Room, which is where we actually did have the Monkey Island release party. And it has an indoor rain during drinking hours, and they have a little boat out in the pool in the middle of the room.
I wasn't sure if that was the floor or what that was.
That's a pool. It's water. It's rains. It rains and like a thunderstorm happens, and it's phenomenal. It's the lagoon, they call it. It's great. The hotel, the Fairmont in San Francisco, they converted the indoor pool to the Tonga Room, and it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Do you have like Monkey Island music going?
We will. Disney owns it, so no. I know.
Disney owns Monkey Island?
Disney owns Lucasfilm. Yeah.
Oh, they own it now. Oh, it's too bad. Because
and it's dead forever because of it. It's nice.
Because wasn't the basis of the first Pirates of the Caribbean originally going to be a Monkey Island movie? Like that's how sort of started its inception.
That is that story has been told many times, and I believe it apocryphal. I believe it deeply apocryphal.
I want to believe that one though.
If you're in SF though, my personal favorite is Smuggler's Cove. Technically 3 floors. The single best bartending experience outside of like a handful of speakeasies, Bourbon and Branch being my personal choice, where you can actually learn to make really amazing cocktails. Phenomenal place. They have the Smuggler's Cove sort of club where you actually join their tasting and you go through all of the most rare rums in the world because they have all of them.
Is Smuggler's Cove a franchise?
No. It is.
Why do Christians love Bart Ehrman?
Not a clue.
They don't generally. I think probably though because he has respectful debates with Christian apologists and they have huge cultural personalities. His friendship with William Lane Craig is probably very instrumental there to sort of sanitizing him to people who probably wouldn't give him the light of day otherwise. See, I knew the answer to that question.
Yeah, they have the Rambunctious Society, which I didn't make it very far because I ended up moving.
I just realized we have a Smuggler's Cove on the island.
Really?
A Smuggler's Cove pub.
Well, it's probably not. That's good.
I don't know if it's related at all, but if it is,
It is not. It is for sure not. These guys are one of a kind. But they may be friendly. I would assume. I would hope they're friendly. Their booze. They have a drink called a Calabogus. They're phenomenal drinks. Let's see. It has to be in their favorites because it's maybe they moved it to zombie. Their zombies fucking ridiculous. But then, let's see. Where is it? One sec. Calabo. No. Don't say they got rid of it. Shit, they did. God damn it. Pisses me off.
What's the deal with Freemasonry?
What the fucking fuck? It's dudes who like to get drunk and not have to go home to their wives. And also younger people who tend to be more inclined to try to do civic service but don't have a lot of outlets that are organized within the Midwest, especially upper Midwest, so they join the Freemasons in order to do more local service work.
My grandfather's a Freemason. I could join if I wanted to.
Same here. My dad too.
New arc. Next year we're joining the
I am not joining the Freemasons.
We're joining the Masons. It's going to be
Smuggler's Cove. Amazing place. God damn. Good drinks.
We're going to change the channel name temporarily to In the Freemasons. It'll be great.
Yeah. This is, by the way, that what they serve their zombie in. Like that's how you do it. Look at that fucking thing.
That looks like a zombie.
That's the idea.
Phenomenal. You get to keep the glass.
You can buy the glass.
That is acceptable.
You can buy the glass. And I think you can buy them on their store too.
I want to buy that glass.
Look
at that. How much is that? 50.
1 sec. That's the book.
I was going to say it's pretty cheap.
$70.
That sounds more right. It's actually that's a pretty good deal, honestly.
I mean, they're solid too, by the way. Like it's not,
like what is
this
that,
isn't
a resin?
some like plastic shit. This is like hard, like
it's some kind of
clay.
resin. It's not going to be carved.
No, it's not carved. It's like hard. Like it's like really heavy shit. It's phenomenal. Man, that place is great.
Well,
yeah.
I'm going to go buy booze tonight. Brooks, let me go.
Well, what booze are you getting?
I am undecided.
What are you thinking?
There's a place that makes really good mojitos. I've been thinking that. I was gonna just go for like wine or something, but now I'm feeling something minty.
Have you ever had a caipirinha?
I do not know I would be even able to spell that.
Here, let me send you a link so you can at least see how to do it. I would recommend that you look up and see what it takes to make a caipirinha, which is like famous in Brazil. It's a Brazilian restaurant I used to go to. Made one of the best that there is for me. It's probably my favorite drink. Just to be I guess a white Westerner. It's like my favorite drink on the continent. It's phenomenal. It's like all the stuff I love of everything. It's rum mixed with like kind of what a mojito is, sort of. Like it's just the best of all worlds as far as I'm concerned. Highly recommend it. It's worth looking up as a thing.
Okay. Text it to me. And we've talked about this before. Someone mentioned we should do a tasting stream. I maintain on Fridays we should do drink reviews of some kind. That should be a small component.
You're talking to a guy who I have pine liqueur because of the types of drinks I enjoy making. Did you know there's pine liqueur?
And my favorite wine is Retsina. I am familiar with the flavor of pine.
Good. Excellent. I would be happy to do such a thing. That'd be super fun. Those are the ingredients you get for caipirinha. It's very light in terms of ingredients. Very solid. It's again, the process is what matters. Like, don't fuck with it. You need a proper muddler. If you're not going to muddle, and I'm not fucking with that, it's not like a joke. If you're not going to properly muddle, don't do it. Because the muddling is what matters.
The muddling is what matters. That's our catchphrase for the channel now. Okay, the muddling is what matters.
I mean,
in the fold, the muddling is what you've done it. Well done.
I mean, it's an accurate statement. By the way,
gonna have that in our intro.
It's an accurate statement.
Is what matters.
If you just mix lime and sugar and you don't muddle, I like to add mint leaves to my caipirinha. I adore it. If you're not muddling, it just is just mixing shit together and putting it in your mouth. It's disgusting. You're a savage. You need to do better. Because if you can't even use, it's a stick. Just go, bleh. If you can't even use a stick, you're worse than like, come on. Join the civilized world. Use a stick for your drinks. You're looking up what muddling is.
I'm looking up who we're going to raid.
Oh, who do we have?
Well, it's between Reservoir and the Crucible.
Reservoir.
Have a good night, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you on Wednesday for more horribleness.
Muddling matters.